so that the Everborn saga can name them. Go ahead, sir.
All right,
He's
wait
quiet.
a minute. Let me. No. I'm waiting for it to come to the start. I gotta wait.
Oh, there you go.
There's a gap when it comes to the start. While we're waiting, though,
Yes,
I will say this whole Mount Rushmore best ever hip hop thing. It's really by era, right?
True.
Because as much as I love Jay-Z, can I say he is, better than Big Daddy Kane? Can I say, you know what I mean? So it's like we can look at the 80s and then we can look at the 90s, we can look at the early 2000s. If you want to say, you have your favorites right now, that's great. But I think every era kind of
has his own. That's right.
Yes. Right.
And by the way,
I could say Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, right?
Yep. But here's the thing,
depends
though.
On when you came into it.
Here's the nugget that I will throw that may be a bomb that most people won't agree with me on. Y'all, I have a West Coaster and an East Coaster on the show. You guys have some biases. So if you happen to be watching and or listening to this outside of that, you get more of a holistic picture. And the people who are not living here will give you a different metric. And it will be a mix of both. Right? Like I'm telling you, it will be a mix
Look at this
of both.
Southerner trying to shame us. We might say Andre 3000 is on that list. You never know. You didn't get us a
one of my
chance.
favorite lyricists ever.
I'm just telling you, when you talk to somebody from Germany, for example, like and by the way, I say Germany because in my travels, Germany is the illest place for hip hop. Oh my God, you will go to a club tonight and the B-boys is out. They acting like it's the 80s. They are so true with it, even to this very day. So like when you ask them, they give you a different picture, and it's also a combination of what and maybe some others, right? But it's just super interesting, depending on who you talk to, where they're from, how they come to the game, that they'll tell you what's what and what they like and all that. It's a super interesting conversation. I'm not shaming nobody. I'm just letting you know that when you're outside, there's also some views that are looking in as well, which is also very interesting to the conversation. But please continue. Tell me why I'm wrong. The virtual tomatoes come here. Go ahead.
I mean, you're talking to a New Yorker and somebody from the West Coast, and you're gonna tell them that about opinions from Germany. I don't know, but hey, we can have that discussion.
That's not the discussion
we're having today.
Picture of gaming, but that's of music. But that's a whole different converation. We'll
all right, let me start on this list. Okay, let's go. JD Gaming.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Yes.
Pixel Bit G, Big Bad Mo, John Wolf, Hargeet Chani, J Mac, Graybeards Unite. You know what it is. MJ Dark. There's more coming. DL Plays, Captain Chats, Adidas 20, Kingsley Justine, AJ Allen, Hung Awe, A Rodimist, Tenant Gaming, or Tent with two T's. I don't know, but you know what your name is. Fred Gurion, Ballantone, Xbox Expansion Pass, Headley, Game Pass Guru, the Blue Number, Derek Johnson, Big Poppy Senpai, Ozzy Fan 80, It's Timmy V2, Roshan Eppinger, Zach Riley, L. Paul, Leonard Hera, something, Chris Coleman, Z 429, Risk It for the Biscuit, Sith Lord, Infinite Number, Zach Hayes 85, Torino Johnson, Andy B Drumming, Focus Active, King Webb, Drake Williams, XBX, Lord Chaos 78, Punty 050, Tim Purr, The Black John, Guess Who, Dave Ramos. I think we got all of them. Is that all of them?
Don't forget that.
Basement Slow-mo, and now we good because I started with JD Gamer. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being members. We do that every week. I didn't know we had so many subscribers. That is amazing.
I updated what is it, a week ago. I went in and updated the list. It grows, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. This is amazing. And y'all are powering the show. Y'all are keeping this thing going. Y'all are keeping the fire on us to keep wanting to make this show better and push it further. There will be more as far as the show and the upgrades and what we're planning on doing with all of your help and your support. We appreciate y'all so much. Okay, before we get started, and we'll start talking about Fallout, we'll start talking about Zao. There's a lot of games to talk about. Before we do, though, I will say once again, hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Consider becoming a subscriber and a member of our chat. And by the way, join these here Discords. Here is the Discord link. Please consider joining the Discord, because in the Discord we have all these amazing conversations. We're always out there. We're always talking, and we take the PG-13 off, and we kind of go a little hard sometimes, so you can enjoy and be part of that conversation. Stop it. No Diddy this morning. No Diddy. Stop that.
Well, no Drake now. I think we're gonna have to change that.
Don't do that. Come on now. Come on now. That's just cold. That's just cold right there. Got him. Anyway, right? The reason why you also want to join our Discord is because I'm doing what I call game code spring cleaning. For those who are new to the handheld craze, for those who want to fill out their Steam libraries, I got pages and pages of old, new, middle tier games, indie games, AAA games, like many games. Some of them I have that I've had for years. Some of them that I just will never get to. So I'm just like, you know what? Let others play it. I've been dropping codes in both the VIP Discord for the members and also in Gen Pop. So if you join our Discord, you'll have access to those. You know, I'm sure there are some codes on there right now that no one has claimed. So you can just go there and claim a code, and you'll be able on your way of growing that Steam library. So join the Discord, check it out. I will also say, before we get started in earnest, I see 120 people in here peppered between the YouTubes and the Twitters. We have a giveaway today. We are definitely going to be giving away 5 Hellblade 2 coins from the master of coin himself, Mr. Ben Kenobi. We appreciate him adding us to his list. That blue number was so kind to offer this to us, and we're taking it. We are definitely going to be giving away 5 of them. Now, if you are in this chat, just by being in this chat, you get access to 2 of them. And I'll tell you how you can get your hands on that. And our members, which as you see at the bottom have grown, get access to 3 of them, and they will be raffled off all today. So if you want to be part of this giveaway, I want you to put hashtag HB2 in the chat, and I will start that. Let me see here. Give me one moment. Let me do this real quick. Here you go. I will start that right now. So hashtag HB2, you put that in the chat, you will be added to the drawing for potentially winning yourself a Hellblade 2 coin, which is exclusive. Now, you know what I mean by exclusive. It's not that pseudo exclusive that comes on other platforms later. No. This is not purchasable. This is only accessible via this giveaway.
I had some slander when you say pseudo exclusives that comes to other platforms.
You know what I'm talking about. You know the pseudo exclusives.
So we're just gonna keep moving.
Pew, pew, pew. We're just gonna keep it moving.
He snuck in that dig right there. I see you.
You know, I gotta do that, man. I gotta do that because a lot of these people, you know, they think I'm the magnanimous one. Everyone's a slanderous one. Nah, every once in a while you gotta take a shot across the bow. I'm sorry, it is what it is. But yes, enter that giveaway. We'll give 2 of them away to all the general folks, members in the chat, right? And then we'll give 3 of them away if you're a member. And as you see the list scrolling down there, we'll pick 3 from our members. Now, here are the rules. If you win on this show and I announce your name, you have 48 hours, and that is until Gamers Playground on Monday night with myself and John Wolf. If by then I have not gotten communication from you, and that could be in the DMs on Twitter, you could go into the YouTube show, the YouTube page, and email me. If you send me your communication, and then I will send you a form where, you know, the who and the where gets logistically dealt with, and then it'll be on its way to you. If I don't have that by Monday night, your reward is forfeit, and I will redraw. So whoever wins, you have 48 hours to get at me. Let me know who you are. Let me prove to me that you are the winner, and I will make sure I get that stuff out to you. But with that out of the way, let's get started. Now,
it's the Hellblade one that you're doing.
It is the Hellblade one that I am doing. Yes, you may have one on your possession. Are you telling me you have one? Yes, he does. Of course, he does. Because he's working with you. Yes. That is amazing, bro. I'm so looking forward to getting my hands on it. I love the fact that the Xbox logo has like dead bodies hanging in the background. You don't even see it. It's crazy, bro. But yes, that's the one we're doing. So thank you to the master of coin himself, that blue number as well, for adding us to the giveaway. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to give away some of that to folks in the chat. So let's get started. And you were already talking about it, Dante. You got your hands. You started playing Fallout 4, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, this week there's talk of Fallout 4. The update came out. There's back and forth about whether the Xbox version of the update's real versus the PlayStation version of the update, and yada yada yada. Digital Foundry did a whole thing about it. You played the Xbox version, no?
Yeah, I'm playing on Xbox.
Tell us. And now, of course, you said this is your first experience with it. How does it feel? How does it play? Let us know.
Yeah, so I can only compare it obviously to my experience with 76, but it plays good, man. I think for me it was probably the more natural transition because the mechanics are kind of similar, except for like the VAT system. Obviously, that's different compared to how it is in 76. But in terms of visually, man, like it's definitively the better looking game. I'm really kind of puzzled as to why there hasn't been like a huge update to 76. Because to me, if anything, I would think that's its drawback is that visually it looks very dated. It's fun, obviously, once you get going, especially if you play with friends. Me, Colt, and that blue number Holly were playing for the longest time, and we still jump in and play. So I'm like probably 150 hours deep in 76, but wow. I barely just started Fallout 4. Just came out, just had my first getting out of the vault moment. So I'm just kind of exploring the world, kind of understanding like the mechanics and whatnot. But so far, man, I'm digging it. It's like for me that nice little transition for something that I've been used to playing from 76 in terms of like it doesn't feel clunky in terms of like the movement or anything like that. It feels kind of similar to how my movement is in 76. I'm still kind of adjusting to how that's really work because it's like I say a lot different than 76. I think that's the one thing that even Colt was telling me beforehand is that like that's what he didn't like when he started playing 76 is how the VAT system works. But I guess I get it because it's multiplayer in 76. But so far, man, it's pretty cool. I'm interested in seeing how it goes. I had the first experience of oh crap, that's how they're going to start this game out with. So they've planted the seed for me to be on the revenge mission right now. So I'm putting on my it's ready for war K-Dot hat right now.
So here's my question about that. And when that game first came out, people were making big deal and having a lot of conversations about that. That's where I learned the term pseudo-narrative dissonance, which is like, oh, we stole your child. Oh my God, the world's about to end. And by the way, let's go explore this and go collect these things and let's go and mess with all these things while your son is still missing, while the world's about to end. I think for those, a small spoiler, for those who watch the show, right, even the show make references of it, right, which is one thing about the Wasteland is it always like throws crap at you to get you to your destination. You're always, turned away with some side quest. How has that been for you, right? Are you like on that I'm on mission, or are you constantly getting diverted to all these other weird side things that keep happening?
Not yet for me, because I know there's the base building mechanic, which I've been used to obviously from 76. So I'm kind of trying to understand like how that works and building up the settlements. But I definitely can hear you. Anytime any game kind of puts that mission in front of you, or that main purpose as to like someone you need to go save or someone you need to go find, it I can see how someone can say, all right, well, what am I doing all this extra stuff at? Like, I'm gonna get to you, kid, but first let me go build up the settlement over here.
They stole my child. He could be dying at any moment. Let me go over here and go build my settlement. Make sure it looks nice and pretty.
I got you in 100 hours though, for sure. I'll remember where my focus is. So I can definitely get that. Right now, I think I've kind of treated it as like I'm out into this new world and I have no clue what this new world is. So let me find a clue. And eventually I will get there. So my brain hasn't really sat in to say, oh man, I need to be focused on the main mission. I'm actually kind of interested in just doing a bunch of random side stuff before. I'm that player who does like as much side stuff as I can, so I can be as powerful as I can. So when I start doing the main mission stuff, it's like I'm trying to demolish. Yeah, because I want to smash people who took the kid. You know what I'm saying? I want to smash them. So.
Now, by the time, if this was Dragon's Dogma 2, by the time you go get the kid, They dead, they buried, they're gone, and now it's a revenge mission.
Exactly.
But that's cool, bro. All right. So is that that's mainly your focus this week? That's what you've been playing?
Yeah, I mean that I'm playing that, and one of my buddies actually just started getting back into 76. It's really crazy. Like I tried to get him to play with us before when me and Holly and Colt was playing, and he kind of fell off on it. So now he's like super into it, and so I'm kind of walking him through stuff because he's trying to get power ups and things like that. So he's trying to kind of power up his character. So I'm kind of jumping back and forth to that. I need to start Zao. I downloaded that early last week. I purchased that. And so that's going to be my backlog. That's going to be the next one. I want to get, if I can, I want to try to get Fallout 4 done and then Zao completed before Hellblade comes out. So that's kind of like my plan of attack.
Okay. Now, speaking of Hellblade, I know a certain Everborn saga has been rekindling the fires of Hellblade. Sir, let's talk about the games you have been playing. Is Hellblade first on the docket, or do you want to talk about something else?
Well, I talked about Zao last week, but I finished Zao earlier this week, I think. I don't think I finished it before last week's show. You guys tell me if I did. So we can talk about that. Really enjoyed the game. If I was going to give it a score, I would probably give it an 8.5, and it would have gotten a 9.5 if I hadn't already played Prince of Persia. But considering this was such a small team that made this, listen, this game should be nominated for best performance.
I was going to say
from the actor acting? That plays Kalunga and Abu Salim, who plays Zao. Like, you do not get this level of performance in even AAA games. I'm telling you. It is something very special.
Wholeheartedly agree. Yeah.
Slight issues that I have that brought it down to the 8.5 is I think you start the game off a little bit too powerful, but we covered that last week, so I won't go into it again.
I'll push back a little bit on that. Since you, like, when you said that, I let you have that because I hadn't gotten to where you are yet. But being where I am now, I agree with you still that you start off a little too powerful. But I will say, I find it super interesting because this is a Metroidvania, and anybody that knows Metroidvania knows that you start off a certain way and they keep layering on more powers. The powers they layer on are super interesting, right? I feel like sometimes Hollow Knight.
We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that. I feel like games like Hollow Knight, make you earn even. Some games make you earn the double jump. Games like Hollow Knight make you even earn the dot that you place on the map to know where you are. I kind of feel like that's cheap. This one gives you all the tools from jump, but then later in game, the stuff you get there is quite good. Because I agreed with you in thinking, where else could they go in this Metroidvania when they're giving you so many tools? But towards the end, the tools they give you are pretty damn powerful and pretty creative and unique, So they did seem to have a plan. It wasn't just kind of phoned in. You know what I mean? I do like.
No. It's not. It's nothing to do with. It's nothing to do with being phoned in. For me, I think everything that they did it really well. It is just that, the game itself is like 8-10 hours, right? And if it was a 30 or 40 hour game, and I think Ori's like 15-20 hours, right? But Prince of Persia was like 40 hours. So if it's that kind of game, they start you with less because you have to earn it. And I think there are narrative ways that they could have done it, but it feels like this you hit your ceiling too soon, and you can use some of the other powers, but you don't have to. Whereas in other Metroidvanias, there are certain sections of the game where they give you a mechanic and you have to use that in this part of the world, and then you'll get other things. So for me, I'd like to see this game be maybe a 20-hour game where maybe you started off with less and they really hyper focused on the abilities. Maybe you start off with one mask, right? Maybe you start off before the inciting incident of this game, which I'm sure everybody knows what it is. It's about somebody dying, right? Maybe you start off while you have one mask and you know who has the other mask, and then after they pass, you get the other mask, you know, at 1/3 of the way into the game, and then you go and meet Kalunga and things like that. But again, because I know people are going to say there's a narrative purpose that you have those masks, but I just think in these other games, you know, it, like, the boss battles are challenging, but I feel like the regular enemies are not challenging enough, if that makes any sense. And
yeah,
then
the onesie twosie enemies tend to be a bit more fodder like, but then from time to time they like lock you into like one of the gauntlets, if you will, and there's a lot of them coming at you at the same time. It does tend to get some challenge there.
Yeah, and again, you know, the narrative makes up for these little quibbles that I have, but again, like I said last week, don't take this as this is a critique, not a criticism, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. As Lucius is saying here in the chat, shout out to you, good sir. Thank you for joining us. More than most that I have played, because I love me some Metroidvanias. You know, that's the indie fodder. So I'm always playing a Metroidvania of one kind or not. More than most I've played, the narrative matters so much here. You're talking, you're trying to traverse the world, and he's talking about what happened to his mom. He's talking about, like, it is so powerful to the point where all these other things become table stakes, in my opinion. What do you think of that?
No, I get it, and that does a lot of the heavy lifting. But again, like, as a game, because clearly they put a lot of effort into the combat. I just think it's a matter of it could have used a little bit more balancing, because the combat is very involved. But I found myself being able to get by with using like one set of moves.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
And so that, you know, if there's a sequence,
you to have to change up like your tactics too much, you can use.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
It's like in Street Fighter 2 when I just kept using the jump kick sweep. You know what I'm saying? Like, I shouldn't be able to get through all this.
SOB. You cheap SOB. I'm just saying. I'm sorry.
So those are the things. So these are things that if they're, it doesn't really make. I mean, it could be a Zao Part 2. Just it'd be completely different. But if they make another one of these, that's what I would like to see more focusing on the balancing of the regular combat. I think the platforming is very interesting. Definitely not as sweaty as Ori or Prince of Persia, but still very.
In the late stage, it gets really sweaty.
Okay, so let's talk about this late stage thing. I gotta say.
Yeah.
Okay.
So real quick, no spoilers, right?
No spoilers.
We're not telling you how you get there. We're not telling you what the logistics of it are. We'll just tell you there is an Ori-like level, right? There's if you remember in Ori, there was a specific level that people just kept talking about. There is an Ori-like level.
You're kind of getting rushed to do something.
So there's a chase sequence in this game. I'll say it. It's the end of Act 3. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
At the end of Act 3, there's a chase sequence. That's it. You'll find out what it is and why you're doing that. Yeah. But in that chase sequence or escape sequence, there's a new mechanic that you recently get that allows you to break through walls. And it doesn't work all the time, but there's no margin of error. Meaning you're supposed to charge and bash through a wall, right?
Like clockwork, ladies and gentlemen. Like clockwork.
Of course, that's we
Shout
know
out to man Paris.
But Paris is starting his own Sonic podcast. Did you hear this?
No, I didn't notice.
Yeah. He's on his own channel. He's starting a new show. It's going to be focused on Sonic. So I'm very interested to see where that goes. Now, so the thing is, you use your dash attack in the air in the same way you would throw the spear or the freeze ice ball. But you use that with your dash, and you break through. You aim at certain walls, and you can break them. And so this doesn't always work. You can do the bash, you can hit the wall and be close enough, but it doesn't always break the wall. And you'll have to go and try to charge it again. But you have to touch the ground before you can do it again. But in this chase sequence, if you make your jump and you don't break the wall, you'll die instantly.
And
So
I am there right now. Like right now, I'm there.
Right. If this doesn't work, you're just dead, and it doesn't work all the time.
Over and over, and I've been dead like
maybe this is not
times at this point. Yes.
Maybe this is not the case on the Xbox or PlayStation version, but I played it in Steam, on the Steam Deck, and on the big boy PC, and I would be right in front of the wall trying to hit it, aiming directly at it, and it would break sometimes and not break other times. And it's not that I wasn't there fast enough. It's not that I wasn't aiming at it. And there's one specific part where you go down your zigzag thing, and then you go forward, and then you go up, and then you use you'll know it when you get there. It's the end of Act 3. And then it happens again at the very last wall you have to break. So you'll go through the whole chase sequence and then try to break the wall. You know you're close enough to it. And then it'll just be like, psych. And then you'll have to do the whole thing over. So that is a thing that I don't know if it's just happening on the Steam version. I don't know if it's like a QA miss, but that mechanic doesn't work all the time. It was very frustrating. It took me 3 days to get it to happen to work in both instances. So other than that, love the game. Cannot recommend it enough. 8.5 out of 10. Now, I finished that early in the week. That was Monday or Tuesday. Or maybe it was Sunday. The next game I went into in preparation for what's coming soon is Hellblade. So is it Senua's Sacrifice or Senua's Saga? Which one's
Senua's Sacrifice? That's the first
Senua's Sacrifice. So
Saga is second.
Okay, so playing on the big boy, the 4090, just to get all the visual bells and whistles. Everything's on ultra, ray tracing turned on high.
You can't see him right now, but imagine the pinky in the air. Continue, sir. Go ahead.
So
I can tell.
I actually completed that last night. I just shared some screenshots. Game looks amazing. So it's going to be wild to see how far ahead part 2 is, because it's like night and day from what they've shown. So the thing is, there's some weird parts of it specifically. I don't know if you guys remember the where you had to get the shards because you wanted to get the blade, and you have to do the trials. And there's a fire maze where you can't stop, and you don't really know where you're going. And then like if the fire touches you, or maybe the fire doesn't touch you, but you stayed too long. That was super annoying, but I got through that. The thing I wanted to talk about with that, in the new game, they said you only fight one person at a time. Is that correct? Am I correct in saying that they've?
That's what yes.
So here's the thing: in part 1, and I'm saying this, I just beat it. You can fight 3, 5, 6 people at once. In the end, you're fighting like 8 people on screen at the same time. So. Are they moving away from that, or are they explaining fighting one-on-one differently? Because part 1, you're absolutely battling more than one. You got to use the mirror to look.
I could be wrong.
Someone's behind you.
I could be wrong, but I kind of feel like they're explaining one-on-one a little differently, because that like people, even though what you're saying is true, people took what you're saying as one-on-one, because it's like this person hits you, and then that person hits you, and then this person hits you. It wasn't like, and I hate using this comparison because it always has its connotations. It's not like your God of War, if you will, where you just have a bunch of enemies coming at you and you have to dodge and move.
That's what's happening in part 1, kind of, when you think about it. Like, think about it. Like, trust me, just play it again.
Yeah.
And I'm playing for a little bit.
I haven't done so, and we're going to talk a little bit about this as well. I haven't done so yet, but I'm planning on replaying it in VR. I'm going to do that before Hellblade 2 comes out. I'm planning on replaying the whole thing in VR because there's a VR version, so I'm going to do that. But yes, I do understand what you're saying, because there's a version on Steam. Yes, there's a version on Steam that's VR version. And actually, a quick pro tip: there's a version on Steam that's specifically VR version, which obviously they crawl back like certain aspects to make it work in VR. But you can also use a mod to then play any Unreal Engine 4 and 5 game in VR. So there's options. We'll get to that.
Lucius Augustus says you don't have AOE. I don't know what that means. Attacks where you can hit 6 enemies at once. You can only really fight one person at a time. So what I think he's saying,
where you area of effect where you drop and it explodes. Yeah.
All right. So what I think that he's saying is maybe in part 2 you will have multiple people attacking you at once, and you'll have to guard your 6, but you're only attacking one person at a time. So there are multiple people, but you're okay.
See, our chat is challenging you with gaming parlance. You should know this, man, Mr. Host of a podcast, gaming podcast. You don't know what AOE
like Age of Enders? What are we talking about? Like, so but the thing is, aside from that, because I'm interested in part 2, like this game is like powerful stuff, and it does. I understand the God of War references because it is also tackling Norse mythology, but the performances in this game and the way, and what's super interesting is the whole game, it takes you like 8 hours to finish it. You're literally just walking up a bridge, but all of this stuff is in her head.
Yep.
You're walking up a bridge to drop something off, right? Like, that's wild. Is that a spoiler from a 2017 game?
I was about to be like, well, the man just dropped the spoiler. I did see somebody in the chat a little while ago.
By now, even though I just finished it yesterday.
I heard somebody say, mute this man's mic. He's dropping spoilers everywhere.
It's 2017. Come on. But so anyway, this is the other thing I wanted to say. People said, oh, the combat in part 1 wasn't this and wasn't that. I thought the combat was very interesting.
I think a lot of people thought the combat was kind of one-dimensional.
I'll give it that, yeah.
So I enjoyed the combat personally, but they felt it was one-dimensional. There wasn't a lot of different types of attacks and things that you can do. So for that, I can to me, I felt they were going for a more visceral type of guttural fighting style, shall we say? Nothing that was like super crazy where she's doing flips and all that crazy stuff or dashes and strikes. But I can see if people with that being a valid criticism for the first game.
Yeah, and again, it definitely could use more variety, but I really enjoyed the idea of the parries and the blocks and the dodges and the charging and hitting with the lunge strike versus and then when you get the other sword, you can do the charge attack. So, and I like how they built in focus. And again, obviously, if you play Hellblade, the people in your ear that are telling you, like, even though you might be doing the right thing, they're telling you, no, you're doing the wrong thing or you're going to die. It's really good. Because usually my kids are doing that to me. So like having them do that in the game, that's like very interesting. But no, I did not understand how special this game was, and it just makes me even more excited for
so two questions
with part
two questions, and then we'll move on to another game. Question 1: how do the visual puzzles grab you? Because a lot of people had critique of the visual puzzles in part 1. And question number 2: once you tackle that one, how do you feel it's gonna, as a 4-quadrant type of experience, how do you think Hellblade 2, now that you've played 1, how do you think 2 will fare in the conversation of, hey, this is the next big game? But first, the area puzzle.
Okay, so the puzzles. Like I said, the most annoying puzzle, because I feel like it felt like it was broken. I hate, like, I'm all for I died and it's my fault. And there's a lot of games that are very good, even if they're super difficult. Elden Ring is one of them. We mentioned that. Prince of Persia is another one. We mentioned that. I think some of the puzzles that they make you do, especially that one, that fire trial, felt like it was poorly designed, when you did, so I didn't feel like, dying was my fault. Now, I will say the other like visual puzzles, some of them are interesting, but it did get repetitive, right? Because it's that thing, okay, you can't go through the door, you need to find some runes, go at a different angle, and then zoom in. And to me, that is a boring, game mechanic that is really only there as an excuse so that you can get the monologues delivered. Because they had a certain amount of voice tracks that they needed to play out before the end of the game. So that I really hope. And also, so the secondary in terms of 4 quadrant, I fully understand the purpose of the story and what is going on and what this is about for her. And maybe this is by design, but I genuinely feel like there's more straightforward ways to tell a story like this and still get across what you're trying to do. I understand they're trying to put you in her shoes and so that you can kind of deal with some of the psychosis, but like the way they deliver the story, I feel like is through monologues. And again, it could be, you know, because of the budget that they had. So I hope that the story is delivered in a more cohesive way.
You play with headphones on?
What'd you say?
Did you play with headphones on?
Absolutely. But I always game with headphones. So that was because I usually game in bed at night while everybody's asleep, so I can't have the big surround system going on.
He's PCMRing in the bedroom. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying.
But Aaron is correct. I did really enjoy the combat, and when you hit the parry, it's one of those things that it feels really good when you hit that parry. But in terms of will the second one be a 4 quadrant? Will it be a God of War? No. But I do feel like while God of War I'm just talking about story, not gameplay. God of War tells a more universal story. I think that everyone can jive with, because everybody has some form of daddy issues. Or everyone is a dad and they're dealing with rude ass kids like Atreus. Maybe that was my one. Sorry. But this feels like a more complex story they're trying to tell. I just hope that they are able to tell it through more than just monologues this time. Because really, if you look at the totality of Hellblade 1, it's just her having memories of her mentor, which is or isn't dead. And then, she has her boyfriend, and then there's the whole stuff.
Man, stop the spoilers. Some people are going to replay.
No, I'm not. I don't know if he's dead. You guys can decide that when you play the game. Sure. But her mentor, you have to find a rock that has a red circle around it so that he can tell you his whole story. And I would what's the rule? Show, don't tell. And this is all. The whole game is
tell, not show.
Right. This the whole game takes place after all the good stuff happened. Yeah. Like when you think about it. So I feel like
this is a Halo Infinite criticism that's about to come up here.
No. But I feel like what I want from part 2 is to be in the story now. Right? I don't want it to be
Luke lore is coming for you
after
man. He is sick and tired of your spoilers.
Wait a minute. All you guys give me crap about not playing GTA. All you guys for 4-5 years knew about Hellblade 2, talked about how much you can't wait for it, and you telling me you guys never played Hellblade 1?
We're not talking about that. We're saying that we've played it and we've kept it from you so that you can discover this from yourself. Like a unique snowflake that you are, and now you're spoiling it for everybody else who's going to discover it. Come on, bro. What are you doing?
Whatever. I'm just trying to give people a critique of the game. I think a lot of people are frauding and didn't play the game, even though they're talking about how much they love and can't wait.
Everborn Saga is like, I've played it now, so you go to this level and you find this rune, and then you go come on, bro.
No. The whole game is finding runes. That's not a spoiler. We need to stop that, right? Like you find a rune, you get a monologue. Like that. That's literally the whole game. And I'm saying I want more than that, and I just don't want the story to be told through monologues from whoever that amazing actor was. That's all I'm saying.
The second one, for what it looks like, it almost gives the impression that there might be a second person who, at some parts of the game, will be in it, like a male character. But I'm curious if that's like a real person or something in her head.
So
how they're gonna do that.
Zay429 says, did I get the full 1K gamer score? I played this on Steam actually, so I got the Steam achievements. Why when it's in Game Pass? Because I think I got it for like $5. So I was like, let me just buy it. Because I thought I was going to play it back and forth on the Steam Deck, but I didn't really want to look at it in low res. So I ended up playing the whole thing on the PC. So I could have went through Game Pass, but whatever. But to answer that question, I got 14 out of 15 achievements on Steam. So that wouldn't be the full 1,000. I don't know what the 15th
I'm
one is.
missing a stone. I know for a fact I'm missing one that I didn't go back to go look for.
Everyone seems to be missing one that's really difficult to get.
The rune stones are the best bits of the game. I'm not disagreeing with that. That performance is better than most. I'd say the performances of that actor is better than anything you got in God of War in terms of acting performances. Right? That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying for part 2, I would like to see those things that he's talking about. Right? I'd like to. I want them to show me instead of telling me in part 2.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But all right, man. So okay, I won't take too much more time. What you're seeing on the screen right now is Immortals of Avium. If you recall, what was it, like 2-3 weeks ago? They dropped it available for like $8 on almost everything on PlayStation. I think on PlayStation it became part of PlayStation Plus. On Xbox you could get it for $7.99. I've wanted to play this game for a while now, but people were giving it short shrift, saying that it was just a Magic version of Call of Duty. Like the initial criticism that I heard from it was that the gameplay was not inventive enough. They just used Magic to give you a shooter. So it kind of seemed like it didn't deserve to be immediately played. So I just kind of backlogged it. And then when it came out for like $8, I was like, oh, why the heck not, right? I've also heard that this game is beautiful, and I can attest. What you're looking at right now is Xbox Series X footage. Recorded it yesterday. I've been going through it. I've actually played it on the PS5. Played it for a little while, and then my PlayStation Plus subscription lapsed, and I'm like, do I really want to get that back? I just spent a whole year and I played literally one game. So I didn't renew it. I might renew it. I don't know. I haven't renewed it yet. But I got this for $8 on this thing. So I was just like, hey, I'll give it a try. And I'm really enjoying it. I think it's fun. I think the story is pretty fun. I do get the criticism, right? Realistically, it does kind of waste some of the Magic fare. You could do a bit more with Magic, but instead it turns into a shooter like that. But so far, it's almost. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say this level design is reminding me of Control. It looks exactly like Control.
Yeah. So where I am in the story, and this is relatively early on, you become an immortal, right? And an immortal is a title. There's a big war going on. You're part of an elite squad, and to get to the elite squad status, the immortal status, you have to take a trial, and this is the trial. And the world is throwing things at you, and you have to adapt and all of this. But I will say, in general, it kind of like Metroidvanias where they throw more and more at you as far as like abilities. It's pretty cool. Like I'm enjoying it. They bring you the sling, it brings you in. You have one of the powers that feels like a sniper, another power that feels like a more powerful shotgun. You have your power that's more like an assault rifle that keeps giving you consistent shots, right? But they pepper that in with like hover mechanics and all these other things. And you just kind of get into the flow of what you need. There's a shield, there's this, there's that. It's actually quite cool. Like, and graphically, it's really good too. Like this, as I said, is Series X footage. I would possibly like to play this on PC because as you see the arm, you keep changing the type of shot that you have. So in this world, most of the magic wielders have one kind of magic they can wield. You are, of course, the anointed, one of the special ones. So you can use different kinds of magic, and each color represents a different style of magic and different style of combat you can do with it. But oh yeah, and of course, I as you see, y'all gonna see me fail multiple times in this. It is what it is. So as that's it, right? And unlike most, I don't like to sugarcoat my footage. If it sucks, I suck. You'll see me suck. It's fine. Anyway, so. What you'll notice is as you switch from different combat styles or different weapons, if you will, the glove will change or the glaive will change. But because this game has, I would say, not the greatest graphics as far as the Series X, they've had to like upscale it pretty substantially. I think this is one of the first games, and this is also Unreal Engine 5. Shout out to Infinite Number if you're in the chat. Every time I say that, he gets some bucks. This one is one of the first that actually uses Unreal Engine 5 to its fullest capability. Right. This, and I think RoboCop was another one. This release really buggy, but it's now in a very good state. But since they had to downscale it so much, when you're switching those weapons, you can see the graininess of FSR. Like it's very particles, just like you can definitely see it. And I do hear that when you're playing it on a beastly console, a PC, it'll show you more better, than what you're seeing here. But this is to say, I played this on the Series X. I probably could play this on the Series S, and it plays great. It functions great. Like the combat is hard hitting and it's really fun. I like the story. There's a lot of politics going on. There's a lot of this and that going on. It's got Zavala. Not Zavala. Zavala is who the Destiny 2 character. Zavala was the male character in Destiny 2. The female character, I forget her name at this moment, but basically Lawrence Fishburne's wife is in this game. Fully like rendered. Yeah, I actually, let me see if I can push the footage ahead a bit. Maybe you can see her fully rendered, looking amazing. Like I'm just like, wow, like there she is, like so well rendered, so well realized. You're like, yo, this, like she is just like, they just took a picture of her face. And like it's so well rendered, like the game is excellent, and the story is super interesting. So yeah, I get the criticism that some have been giving it. Some have been giving it criticism that the game itself was just a lot of flash and no substance. I can see some of that, but so far, I think I'm about an hour and a half to 2 hours in. I am seriously enjoying myself in this game, and of course, if you've been paying attention to the news, after this game came out, didn't do so hot. A bunch of the studio was like let go, and it ended up really bad. So you probably will not get a part 2 of this, but we'll see how if I stick with it. We'll see if I get to the end. But so far, I'm thinking this game could have been a franchise. It's pretty fun. It's really good. Like it is just plain fun, popcorn, walking around, shooting things. The story is moving from one clip to another clip. Secrets going on that you have to discover. It's quite fun. I have been enjoying.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, please.
Would it have been better off as a movie?
I actually think it would have helped if there was some previous
no, I mean just like forego being a game, like because the world that they created seems very interesting,
excellent. Yes,
but the game itself,
the game doesn't suck. The game doesn't.
It doesn't, but like, fun. Does it stand out? Timing is a big issue, I think, with this game too.
Sure,
right?
Sure.
Maybe in another time when we were in a little bit of a drought and you put this out, this could have done well. But I feel like I was more interested because I bought it too when it was like $7, $8, whatever it cost.
Yeah.
And I'm playing it. I'm like, this is very interesting.
It's decent looking. It's fun. Yeah.
I don't know why, but it reminded me of Mortal Instruments.
True. Yes.
Which was a terrible movie. But
YA and
this was like Immortal Instruments, but good. Right. And I would totally watch this as a show or a movie series, but as a game, it didn't really keep me it didn't keep me intrigued, and I ended up putting it down. Not because it pissed me off, not because anything was broken. It was just fine. But you can't be just fine when you got $100 million budget, right?
Luke Law from the Xbox expansion pass. He's saying Avium is MCU Fast and Furious type, dumb fun with punches above its weight, even though it's stupid and silly. Yeah.
Also, I don't know if it was $100 million, but the budget looks like that unless they did really.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy if it's that high, and they took a serious loss.
Yeah, but no, I'm just looking at everything they put into it. It seems like one of those $100 million games. So don't say I'm saying it was $100 million. I have no idea, but
it was $125 million based on.
Look at that!
Whoa,
the intuition strikes again.
Yes, they revealed the game's budget was around $125 million, and this is on Kotaku. $125 million. Yes,
the studio doesn't exist anymore, right?
It does not. They have killed it, and I think it's sad because what they had on the screen, like you were saying, Everborn, could have been a great world to be in. Like it is a great world to be in. It's fun. It really is. From a gameplay perspective, I would say I do get the criticism that they could have done more with Magic rather than just turning it into a Call of Duty like, because it kind of turns into a Call of Duty like, yeah, you're switching weapons and all of this, but it turns into a Call of Duty like, very basic in its repetitive gameplay elements, but the story around it, the way they represent the people, the way the people are reflected in their facial elements and all of this, top tier stuff. It's beautiful looking and it plays pretty well. So I think it's unfortunate that it didn't get the attention and the credit that it deserves, but yeah, it is what it is. I will keep sticking with it. Whenever I have a chance to, I'll play some more of it, and I may report back and see how it is. But yes.
Do you think it would? You think it could have done better if, like, maybe they started off with like if this is an intro into your universe, right? Here's this game, maybe a little bit of a smaller budget, get that first game in there. If it ends up making a profit, does well, now you can, because it's kind of hard to come to a studio and say, like, here's this idea. Oh, by the way, it's
$125 million.
You know what I'm saying? Like, very first IP, it's different to get people to come in off the bat and say, "Oh, I'm definitely going to buy this." And I think at the time that it released too, like they were up against some competition.
Stiff competition, yes.
Right.
So. Yep. Now let me trap Mr. Everborn Saga here a little bit. It's kind of like the Rebel Moon equation a little bit, right? They're doing the movie, and then the game comes out later.
As a fan of the first one, and I hope the sequel isn't as bad as Rebel Moon sequel is. So I'll just say that.
That was rough. That was rough.
Yeah.
I'm like, how many more slow-mo shots are you gonna give us, Zach?
Oh my God!
Why are we just doing slow-mo for no reason at all, Zach?
Slow-mos and like pointless flat. You know when I knew the second one was over for me? This is when I turned the movie off. There's a scene where like something sad is happening, and you hear the violins in the background, and then of course Zack Snyder's so literal that there's actual violinists playing the violin that you have. Like, that's it. I'm done. I can't do this.
I thought out of nowhere you'd say press X to more and would show up on your screen.
Oh my
God. I will also, before we move on,
we're about to murder someone. Let's get the violinist here to play this.
Bring him in frame. Bring him in frame so he can just kind of give you the inside voices out loud.
There's like a scene in that where they were like kind of in like a I don't know if it's a wheat field or a grass field or something, and I'm like, out of nowhere it just goes into a slow-mo, and I'm like, this is not a dramatic moment. Like, what are we doing right now?
A 10-minute farming scene.
Yeah, like, what are we doing? Why is this a dramatic moment? Like, oh man, like usually for someone who, like, you work at a craft for a period of time, you're supposed to like get better. The longer you do it, and then eventually, like, you start putting out your better work as you really start to perfect it. And for some reason, Zach seemed to have regressed on some of this latest work.
Honestly, okay, let me give Zach. Well, this is not credit, but I don't think it's that he's getting worse. I think that he's at a place in his career where if he's going to do something, you just have to give him full editor control and script control. He's able to go full people. He's going full people to tell him no. What he's doing is going full Kanye.
Oh, come on now.
He also needs people to write him a really good story. Like, he's good visually and he's good for action scenes, but he needs someone to write him a nice cohesive.
He's also
exactly
good
what I'm saying.
He's also good with themes and tone. What he needs is a script doctor and an editor. And and if you don't ever give Zack Snyder final cut, right? And put a screenwriter or a producer in the room that has the ability to say, put the keyboard down, right? So this is the real problem. I think no one is around to tell in the editing room. I'm not talking about his life. I'm saying it when he's making these movies, there's nobody to say, chill out, right? And in his last good movie to me, because I love this movie, which is Man of Steel. I mean, there were two questionable scenes in that, but overall as a film, I love Man of Steel. because Christopher Nolan and Jonathan Nolan were involved at the early stages before they moved off. And Zack Snyder is not telling Christopher Nolan anything. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So he needs someone like that in the room that also has the director's eye. So they're not going to be a corporate suit about it, but someone that can just tell him, chill out. We don't need that 14 slow-mo shot. So anyway,
so real quick, since we are on the real minute, I watched the movie last night. I'm sure people have heard about it.
Movies last night.
Well, I want you to watch this movie, or tell me if you've heard and or seen it, and we'll talk about it real quick, but no spoilers. Have you heard and or seen Monkey Man?
Fun fact: I actually bought the movie, and the missus and I were gonna watch it last night, but she fell asleep. So,
oh boy,
watch that tonight.
No spoilers. I will say, watch Monkey Man. Oh my God, it is Bollywood. Well, I wouldn't even say Bollywood because it's not that bombastic. It is Hindi John Wick.
That's what I heard.
Oh yeah.
Is it more fighting, or is it actual like gunplay as well?
It's more fighting. It's melee heavy. There's some gunplay, but it's melee heavy John Wick. And it's John Wick, but also with a twinkle of the what's the name of that story? The story that there's some Slumdog in there, absolutely. But I'm talking more of the story that Wukong is based off of. What's the name of the story? Journey to the West, I think is what it's called. I forget it.
Hey, how's my sound? King? They say my sound is
you did drop for a little bit. You got low for
a second. You got low for a second, but you sound good now. You sound good.
Okay, yeah, it's just me standing up and I'm moving around when I talk. Sorry.
We don't know if you're standing up. There's no proof of that, Mr. I got no cam.
This is true.
Calm down.
But my cam is at desk level, so like you'd be looking at my stomach.
Okay. You gotta get that standing desk, homie. Come on now. You gotta do what you gotta do. Anyway, if you haven't seen it, watch Monkey Man. We'll do a little bit of a on the real minute on it next week, most likely, but it is worth a watch. My goodness.
I got a couple of on the real things, and then we can move on.
Okay. Yeah. Go for it.
We got a super chat before I start. So
yes.
20 salute the panel and chat. Likewise, sir. Okay, so
thank you so much, man.
We watched a movie last night called Dream Scenario.
Mm-hmm.
This is with Nicolas Cage. It was a very interesting premise where collectively everyone started having dreams and they were all the same person in it. So he was killing people in their dreams, not in real life. They'd wake up and it would be like,
remember, no spoilers, sir. No spoilers.
Yeah, no. This is this is in the trailer. Okay. So your college professor is now in your dreams killing you. And it wasn't just his classmates, it was people all around the world that were seeing his face in their dreams as their murderer. So it's kind of like a dark comedy.
Okay.
But it's also like, it says some things about society that I won't repeat here, that I won't try to interpret for you. I would say watch it and then interpret it for yourself. Obviously, like, we can sing the praises of X-Men all day. But before we get to X-Men, have you, sir, and I know you remember this because it was our first episode of On the Real when we did it, have you seen the new season of Them, The Scare?
I have not seen the new season. No, it was the first. I remember the first season, the first episode, but I have a first season. I have not watched the new season yet. No, I have not.
So it takes place in the early 90s, like 1991. Late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
They do a time jump. It has some of the same actors. By the way, Xbox expansion pass. I only spoil video games, not movies. Watch your mouth. So
freaking spoiler extraordinaire over here.
But this show, like, I think that you remember the first one, and
of course, yes.
It. This show is just as good as the first season, and it's sort of like American Horror Story mixed with True Detective,
That's a nice mix. That's a good
description. Yeah, and it's a predominantly black cast, but that's just because of where the story takes place. Mm-hmm. And again, all the same writing that we dissected from the first one is like right there, just in a different time period, different setting. But like, wow. So if you're into horror, highly recommend checking out Them season 2 on Amazon. It's called The Scare. Them, The Scare.
Okay. And bonus points, if you have a chance to, go check out the first episode of myself and Mr. Everborn Saga. Speaking on really real movie topics. It's on the Everborn Saga channel. It's basically on the reel. And the first episode was talking about this very show. So go catch up. And we'll probably do a season 2 spoiler.
Right.
I'm not spoiler, but
2
overview.
years ago we did that. And now season 2's out. So it's you should check it out. I highly recommend it. So
real quick, before we jump into it like properly, I will say the first winner of the old Hellblade 2 coin, Zach Riley. Zach Riley, congratulations, sir.
Congratulations, Zach.
You have 48 hours to reach out to me in these here DMs. That be the Discord DM.
That sounds like a threat.
48 hours.
You are now on the clock.
You have 48 hours.
Or Kendrick is going to put out a diss record about you.
But yes, holla at me in the DMs. Let's get your information, and we will send you that Hellblade 2 coin. So salute to you, sir. Thank you so much for being here and taking part in this contest. It is not over, though. There is still more coins to deliver. If you are a member of our chat, we have 3 chances for you to win. And if you are not a member, you still have 1 more chance to win before the end of this show. So continue to use said hashtag HB2 in the chat, and we will draw another winner towards the end of the show. And I will also call out the members who win as well. So thank y'all so much for continuing to play. And Zach Riley, 48 hours. But all right, let's continue on. Let's see. So, okay, let's start this thing the way we should start this thing. We've been talking about games, so let's continue talking about games. And I will ask you, gentlemen, I don't know if y'all saw this. I hope y'all saw it. Did you guys see the ID at Xbox show? Did you watch it? Did you hear anything about what's going on? Did you hear anything about the games that were on offer? Dante, I'll start with you, sir. Did you pay attention to this, or did this kind of pass you by? As it seems to have passed many by. What do you think?
I unfortunately did not get a chance to check it out in full. I think I saw 1 or 2 trailers. What's one of the games that caught my eye? I think it was like Azura, something like that. Am I mispronouncing the name? But I haven't seen the whole, or Astor, there it is. That's the game. But I haven't seen it in its totality, so I still basically have that one. I have to go back and catch up on that one. Work's been too busy this week.
I understand, sir. I actually happened to catch it after the fact because I too was like locked down in work mode when this whole thing went down. But I gotta say, from what I've seen, it looks like they're kind of really like giving indies room to shine a little bit here, and there's some interesting things going on. This speaks so much that Zelda language to me. I don't know, like, and
this Dungeons of Hinterberg?
No. That's another one to talk about. This is Aster. This is, let's see, Aster Blades of the Monolith. But yes,
when does this come out?
Yeah, this is the one that caught my eye.
Yeah, it's freaking cool, man. It looks like it's very much we used to play Zelda when we were kids. the developer,
I'm all about this. I have not seen this before. This is
it's real cool.
Damn good.
So and there were lots of games in this way that kind of evoked this real cool indie spirit style. I really loved it. I thought it was really cool. Like, not every game was for me, obviously. And we'll talk about the Dungeons of Hinterberg, because I tell you, like, when I heard about that and the way they talk about it, the Dungeons of Hinterberg, I was like, oh, okay, cute. And then I saw some of the gameplay. That game looks amazing. And by the way, Everborn, as you see on the screen, May 30th is when this game is releasing.
All over it right after I finish Hellblade. That's my game.
There you go.
Hellblade's done.
You know, so and I guess we won't spend too much time on this since Everbone, did you happen to catch the show? Did you see any of the write-ups on it?
I definitely did not. I like you. I was in the office that day, and this was a crazy week for work, so I don't know
understand, sir.
this, but I did see some of the trailers they posted afterwards. I didn't see that one. I did see this Dungeons of Hinterberg trailer, and I don't know.
Yeah.
That it looks like there's way more action in this game than I thought there was originally going to be. I thought it was just going to be exploration, but it seems like there's a lot of fighting in this, and I'm here for it.
It looks so cool, bro. Like I initially was like, okay, you know, indie fare. I love my indies, but not every indie game is for me. It's fine. But after seeing this and the art style and how they're doing it, it looks very good. The Dungeons of Hinterberg, and they basically set it up as a commercial for come join us in Hinterberg, where you can vacation, and it's super interesting. Like it looks like there's a lot of ideas on display right now. It's quite interesting. You know, it wasn't on my list before.
What's it called? Hi-Fi Rush. The art style kind of reminds me of Hi-Fi
Rush. Kind
of.
Yes. It evokes some Hi-Fi Rush indie energy. I do see that, right? I like the way that it's very much cell shaded in its implementation, and it's coming out also very, very soon. You know, I love it. Like I'm really enjoying that they seem to be pushing a lot in this direction where they let the indies shine and they're giving it time to really, they're giving them time to do really interesting things. I will dovetail that into a little bit of smoke, and you guys can tell me what you think of this. I love that they're giving these guys time to shine, and they're giving them the ability to shine in this kind of way. I feel like they're not doing a lot of that on their dashboard. Like these games fall among all the others on their dashboard. Like, and as you know, I don't spend too much time these days on console because I'm like running around, so I'm on handhelds. But when I go and I sit down, bro, it ain't gonna work on me, bro. I've been doing this all my life. Calm down with the CEG BS. CEG my foot. Anyway, but when I sit down and I'm at an Xbox console, like, and I was at an Xbox this week, and I was at the PlayStation, I was sitting there playing. It seems that while the Xbox dashboard is useful, like useful in getting around, it doesn't let games shine as much. And the PlayStation one lets games shine a lot, but then it does that at the cost of usefulness, right? What I mean by that is, like, I happen to be just going through and I stopped in front of Control on the PlayStation dashboard, right? And you stop in front of Control, it takes over the whole screen. Underneath Control is a Control documentary, right? Because they before the show, the game was coming out, there was a lot of vid docs that were done, a lot of stuff like that. So they aggregate all this amazing back scene content, all this talking with developers content, all in this, like the whole screen turns into Control, telling you about it, telling you about this, telling you about that. It's very, very much like putting that game front and center. And I feel like as much as Microsoft and Xbox really do these great marketing things, these great shows to show off these games and let them shine, when you go to the dashboard, if you hadn't seen this show, you won't see hide nor hair of any of these things, right?
Well,
and they show up.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, please.
Let's back up a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things I'll say about that. What you are talking about, and I do very little gaming on the PlayStation side, apart from when,
shout out to the great legendary Yobi for gifting a membership. Thank you, sir. Much. We appreciate you being here. Appreciate your kindness.
I play PlayStation for those exclusives or whatever. So I don't have a lot of experience. So you'll correct me if I'm wrong with their dashboard. But what you're talking about, does that happen with indie games where they get that hero treatment, or is that just the bigger games?
I have found and it's not every game. Let's be clear on that. It's not every game. I have found that when you have a game on their dashboard, it could be Control, it could be any game, but they do this thing where they aggregate all the content, right? They aggregate all the content, and then since that game is on display, all the aggregated content shows up underneath it and becomes like this whole dashboard just for that game, right? And obviously the AAAs will have a lot more pre and post content than say your indie game will, but they're still it becomes its dashboard. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, wait a minute. They're saying I'm low again. Chat, am I still low?
You're good right now. Earlier,
yeah, you're good.
Probably,
I don't hear.
You're probably away from the mic a little bit.
You maybe need to step into
No, like I'm like right up on it. So but so the thing is, what I understand from the Xbox dashboard is that they try to use that real estate to advertise new games to you, and it seems like Sony's is more focused on the games that you already have. Right, and it's a difference in philosophy. I'm not saying one is wrong, one's right, but it seems like they're going for different things.
Okay.
So it's what do you think? It needs to be a little bit better, especially for like a smaller independent game that's trying to gain some traction. I think. I wonder if they kind of treat the dashboard where, if in a sense there's advertising costs, right? So if you want to have something that's kind of more front and center, that's going to catch the eyes of most people when they turn on their Xbox, then there's a cost. So
100% it is, but what the example that Kay gave isn't really sort of highlighting the game if you already have it, right? Or it doesn't lead to discoverability. It's the experience to get you more feeling like this is a hero product, even if it is an indie game. But
so maybe I guess what I'm talking about here is maybe after you do this Idea at Xbox show, right? Maybe then when you go to the dashboard, the Idea at Xbox tab is there and every game gets displayed that way. Like my point is, like you guys didn't see.
Did you go to the dashboard after the show?
I did. Yes, absolutely.
And did they show the games?
Not really. No. Like there's a link that takes you to the YouTube channel where the Idea at Xbox show was, so you can rewatch it. But like I need like for example, like we said, not every game is for every gamer. I need these things to be separately displayed to make them feel like they're there. You know what I mean?
To playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, please.
When they showed the June showcase last year, people dinged them saying, "Why are you showing this stuff to me? I don't want to advertise it on my Xbox." And when they showed the new Call of Duty video for the new one that's out now, people are like, "Oh my God, they're putting ads on the dashboard. Don't show me other games. I just want to get to my stuff." So it's like they can't win for losing. Right?
I don't disagree on that. Yeah,
I think you go more of the route though of still finding a way to make those games easier for people to discover, because ultimately they want people to buy the software, right? You know, you want people to purchase the game. So like,
that's what they're there for.
You have to deal with the people who are going to be a little bit upset as to like, hey, why am I seeing this? I think there should be something, maybe even if it's at the bottom right, that basically is kind of a tab for indies, and then you click on it, and then you're into like, you know, like what's brand new, what's most popular. What's coming up, things of that particular nature. So that way those games get a chance to shine, because it doesn't help them by just saying, oh, well, you know, people are complaining, they just want the cleanest experience and they don't want to see no type of ad. But yet companies are like, well, why am I put my game on your platform where I can't get it sold because I can't get it in front of the players?
So to me, I think the answer is not necessarily within the dashboard, but within the store experience. I think if there's a way to surface that stuff at the top, but again, that is valuable real estate, and people pay good money. Lemon, what up? So you know, it's an interesting problem. I don't necessarily know how I would solve that, but I think Steam does that well. When new indie games come out, they have it at the top. So to me, the answer is not within the dashboard, but within, because I like the idea that I can control my dashboard and then they let me know what like big games are coming out or what showcases they have. I think that's fine. And I never had a problem with, I start my Xbox and I see a video of the new games that are coming up from Showcase. To me, that's fine. People will cry about that. Sure. But to me, I think that they really should streamline how they surface content in their store to get. But now we also have to mention, if we're going to be fair, they have the new ID at Xbox like Indie Select program, which is specifically supposed to surface these things. So we'll see how that plays out with these games.
See, now your conversation about how it shows up in the store may be an apt way about of discussing this, because on the PlayStation Store, you literally tab over and you're in the store. Whereas on the Xbox one, you have to specifically go to the store, and maybe that's why it's a little different. You know what I mean? Maybe that's why like one represents a little differently than the other. Shout out to the great Luke Lore. Thank you so much for being here as always, sir. Appreciate you. You know, maybe that's what it is, because it's so quick to get into the PlayStation Store, you just tab over and you're in the PlayStation Store. Whereas on the Xbox one, you have to actually make a concerted effort to click on the store, and if you never do, then you never see that stuff. Maybe that's the difference here. You know what I mean? But and this is not smoke. This is just me saying that in my experience, when I'm trying to catch up, I find that what I see on the PlayStation Store or the PlayStation UI, like I can spend like I can fall into a game hole quicker there, right? Oh, this is interesting. I wonder what this game is. Oh, and now there's this indie developer talking about it. Oh, and there's this story about it, and it just becomes this whole thing. I spent like 45 minutes just watching documentaries and vid docs because it's all just right there. Like it's all one after another, making you feel like this game is this unique snowflake, if you will. Whereas on the Xbox side, like you're saying here, right? The Dungeons of Hinterberg, or the game I'm about to talk about now, Humanity, they just show up as posters that you then have to go and investigate for yourself. And I feel like they need to kind of traverse that divide a bit if they're going to be the place where there's so much content coming in. They need to find a better method of making them each shine individually, you know, a bit better in the Xbox Store than the Xbox UI, if you will, than has happened so far. But
so you mean like we'll move more than like the, because this is it more like a thumbnail, and it's like you want something showing.
Yeah, I want something that shows. Yeah, exactly. Because you don't know you like it until they show it to you, and you go, "Hey, now keep talking," as they say in that meme. You know what I mean? Like this looks pretty cool. You have to make effort to go seek it out on the Xbox Store. Whereas on the PlayStation Store, maybe like you're saying, Everborn, it's just a matter of the UI elements and the changes there. It just kind of shows it to you, and you just stop and go, "Wow, this is actually pretty cool." And then you fall in that loop of getting more information and all of that. You know, it's a different UI language that they have between the two.
I mean, traditionally Microsoft hasn't been great with stores, but you know.
Yes. But on that point, like moving forward here, have you guys seen this game? If you're not aware, this was and this is just me saying
this was a PlayStation made this game.
I was about to. It's not even a PlayStation game.
No, I mean it was PlayStation exclusive.
Getting the bag. It's on Steam. It's in VR. It was a PlayStation Plus offering at some point, and now it's a Game Pass offering. Let's just say these guys is eating, whether you're playing the game or not. Everybody's giving them the bag for this game. And as a person who's played it, I will say if you like weird people puzzles and stuff, this is really cool. I don't know if y'all like these kind of weird people puzzles, but it is very cool, especially in VR when you can have like that God mode and you can zoom right into and then look at it from the top view. It is quite cool. It's a little weird and morbid watching a bunch of people fall to their death, but there's a story reason for that. You know what I mean? It's quite interesting. It's very weird. Like you just see people just falling to their doom because you did something wrong. But it's super interesting how the game is put together, and it's everywhere. So now it's on Game Pass. I hope more people will try it because it's quite interesting how to like that. I feel like this style of game has been lost in the world. Yes, that's right. Those are all Star Wars characters with their lightsabers fighting each other. It's a very weird game, like a very weird game. I don't know, Dante, have you seen and/or played this?
I've never played it, but I do recall seeing this a while back. Yeah. So is it just a single player experience, or can you play with friends or what?
It's a single player experience. Ultimately, It's a single player experience, but you can build the levels and have other people play it. There's an online component where they will play it. And yes, as you see there, they really, really are like tongue in cheek going into it. They have Star Wars like levels. There's a whole thing where that you can be Men in Black, where they have the glasses on and they're wearing the suit. They're really, really like just kind of, winking at the audience with some of these things. It's quite interesting. And it's a game where, it's not your traditional fare where people are dying left and right. Yes, there are faceless, nameless people falling to their dooms, but there is a story about it. I'll let you discover what that is. But it's interesting. It is very interesting. It's something I can let my kids play. It has VR support. It does, yes. Yes, it has VR support on PC. I think it also had VR support on the PSVR too.
PSVR, yeah.
Yep. It's quite cool. Like, it's a game it's a brain teaser I can let my kids play, you know. It's you can move things, you learn some of the tools early on, and then eventually they start building levels, and it's cool. I hope more people play it. I really do. I hope more people play it because it's just weird and quirky, and look at some of the mechanics. You got people flying, and it's just very weird, people puzzlery stuff.
Yeah, it looks a little chaotic too. But
yes,
cool.
Yes, I enjoy it. I've enjoyed my time with it. So, yeah, and oh, by the way, these guys got the bag from everybody. They continue to get the bag. They get in the bag. It's all good. Let them get the bag. So there's that. There's a lot more games that you can check out. I will say, IGN put the show together. It's probably one of the better shows that Xbox ID at Xbox has done. You've seen them do it with Twitch, which I didn't really didn't care for that much. This one was a bit more concise, a bit more bang, bang, bang with the games. They had some talking heads, but it wasn't too much, too long. So I did appreciate that. Yes, Pal World was represented. A whole bunch of games were on there. I will let you scroll through here, and I hope you do, and go and find some nuggets for you as well. There's some really interesting indie games coming out. But let's move forward and talk a bit more. And Dante, well, before I even do that, thank you guys so much for being here. Almost 300 people in the chat and or watching on YouTube or X.com. Thank you all so much for being here. Hit the like button if you haven't done so. Otherwise, I am not being a good host. I have to say that 1,000,001 times. It is what it is. What are we going to do? Thank y'all for continuing to support us. Let's move on, because I know, Dante, you're a bit of a VR guy, and I wanted to take a quick moment to have a quick little VR chat. Right? Mr. Everborn Saga has been slowly but surely entering the VR waters as the Quest, the Vision Pro came out, right? We all went to Apple and we put on the crazy ski goggles and we had our test, right? And ever
35, since, but what's really going to cost you $5,000 ski goggles? Yes,
exactly.
By the way, before you go into this, can you read Slow Mo's super chat? Not super chat, but his regular chat. I think it's important to the last topic we had.
Let me see. Yes, absolutely. Slow Mo backslap. He says all Twitch cared about was having ID at Xbox to promote their own Twitch streamers who barely play games and couldn't conduct an interview or host to save their lives. Damn, son. Welcome, Slow Mo. Appreciate you. Good points with the right amount of slander right in there. I appreciate you, sir. And I don't disagree at all. I don't. This by the very nature of where we historically we have seen these type of shows, this was far a cut above. So yeah, some people have problem with IGN and how they conduct certain things. This was a good show. I really did like it. Light on the talking heads. I had some dumb jokes here and there, but it was a good show. And I think people should go watch it. Lots of really cool indies in there. So Mr. Everborn Saga and I have been speaking more and more in this VR realm because obviously Apple Vision Pro has showed up, has done some interesting things, right? But since he and I had a chance to test these things out, we have been really pondering: does the Apple have the ability to carve out their own niche here, or does this move a lot of the Quest 3s? Okay, and this dovetails into the story that has come out recently, which is that obviously Meta has lifted the veil on their operating system, allowing other manufacturers to use their underlying operating system to sell more bespoke hardware, right? The Zuck came out of his robot cave and decided to let everyone know that you could do VR focused fitness focused headsets, which would have more rugged material, or gaming focused headsets, which would then take away some of the stuff that's more general purpose and be very very gaming focused. So as you see here on the screen, Asus is one of the first companies that will be doing that, and they'll be making a gaming focused headset, right? Also, I hear there's a limited edition Xbox branded one coming, which will come with an Xbox controller so you can play Game Pass. Lots of interesting use cases. But Everborn and I were chatting because on the Quest 3, and let me grab my Quest 3. On the Quest 3, they have released the latest firmware on it. And And Dante, first off, let's establish your experience with this. You are a VR guy. I've heard you say you're a VR guy. What VR headsets or experiences are you used to these days?
So the first one that I started off with was the HTC Vive, but
okay.
Now I have.
You mean the HTC? So you OG like me. I still have the base stations for the HTC Vive up in my play space here. Okay.
Yeah, but now I'm on the Valve Index, so that's my primary one now is the Index. But yeah, that's I haven't tried any of the Meta ones, so I'm not really for sure as to how their actual user experience was.
Shout out to the Knuckles controllers. The only system that allows you to flip people off in VR. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yep. There you go.
Indeed. Okay.
So that's
you haven't had a chance to try out you haven't had a chance to try out any of the Quest versions yet.
No, not yet.
Okay. So myself and Everborn Saga have Quest 3s, right? I had a Quest 2, I had a Quest 1. I gave my Quest 2 to my little cousins in favor of the Quest 3. What's interesting here is that since Apple released or brought out the Vision Pro, Everborn and I have been really, really thinking about what this will be for. Will it move units for Apple or will it move units for the Quest 3? And more, it's seeming like it's moving units for the Quest 3. But I have a bit of criticism. And Everborn, I know you asked me to try the latest update. There's a latest update that's out right now, and the Quest 3 now has the pass-through looks quite clean, right? It's still grainy, the resolution's still a little bit more difficult, but it's closer to the Apple Vision Pro's UI, the fidelity, if you will, than ever before. It's very, very, very much almost in line, right? So I guess I'll start with you, Everborn. What does this change for you? Do you still think that Apple will soon release a smaller, a more cost-effective headset and then take over the market like we initially thought? Or are we saying that this guy is now in play? What are your thoughts?
I mean, there's a few levels to this, right? Because in the same way you hear about Tesla because they had a sales dip and the stock was tanking a little bit. They're talking about the pivot to AI and opening up their self-driving to other car manufacturers if they install the cameras in the operating system. So you hear this from companies a lot to offset like bad news, and saying usually when you start out closed but then you want to pivot to an open model, it's because the closed model wasn't really working for you and you're trying that in a, I don't want to call it a last ditch effort, but you know what I mean? Like it's not, I don't know if that necessarily means it's coming from a place of strength. Maybe it is, but it's interesting, right? The what was always interesting to me about the Vision Pro, aside from the fact that like who the hell thought it would be a good idea to have that be your starting price, but also when you use the Quest 3, you see how much tech that's in the Vision Pro that's kind of unnecessary, right? So you may say, well, it costs so much because there's all this stuff in it. Did you need the curved glass in the front? Did you need the extra screen? Is that really like the game changer for this thing? Did it need to be metal? Hence weighing it down on your face. And this is someone who's used both of these things. So I'm not just saying this to say it. So there's so many obvious cost-cutting measures they could have taken. Now, if the entry price was $1,000, $1,200, $1,500, I think we'd be having a different conversation, right? But let's be real. If you wanted to buy this thing, it's $3,500, and then good luck if you want to buy that thing without Apple Care, which is another $500. Add tax onto that. Oh, $200 for a carrying case, right? Because you don't want to leave it outside of the carrying case. So the thing is, by the time you're done with this, you add tax and accessories, you're at near $5,000. That is a used car.
Is it pretty heavy?
it's heavier than the Quest. So, and
it's heavier than the Quest, heavier than the Index. I have an Index right there. It's the heaviest headset you can put on your head, and it's top heavy in the front, not the back. Which is the kiss of death for these things.
So that's definitely going to decrease the amount of time you want to stay in it before you're like.
But don't worry, Dante. You don't have that much time to stay in it because the battery that can't be removed only lasts for like 90 minutes. Like, what are you going to do?
Well, but this was my assumption before the Vision Pro came out was that it would mainstream VR or AR. Mm-hmm. And the price makes that prohibitive, even if you had some initial hype. Mm-hmm. So where does that leave us? This comes to our secondary prediction. After we learned the price and what their go-to-market strategy was that the Vision Pro is the best thing that could have ever happened to Quest. Why? Because Apple has figured some things out in terms of UI. And it seems like Meta has been quickly iterating on some of the things that Apple has done. And I guarantee you, Meta can get their software up to snuff faster than Apple can get that price down to a mass market price. And so what happens in that time frame? Right. And so we're seeing these updates, the 3.5 updates that like increases the resolution, brings it closer to the Vision Pro. The Quest 3 doesn't have eye tracking, but maybe a Pro Quest will have one. But what I'm learning is that's nice, but I don't know you really need it that much.
It's not critical. Right? Like and to the point of this article, where they're saying they're going to make bespoke devices. Maybe the gaming focused ones have foveated rendering with eye tracking because you need to put the rendering there for a game. But maybe the one that you use for just watching movies and stuff doesn't have that, and it's a cheaper price because of it. You know what I mean?
Now
they're giving you options in that way.
Yeah. So from using the Vision Pro, to me, the killer app is the movie watching experience. Like I would actually put that on and watch a movie or a TV show on the big screen and the way they present it. Mm-hmm. My issue on the Quest side of things is they have not fully thought out and they don't have OOB, which is out of box movie watching experience. Now, again, there's no Netflix app on the Vision Pro, but Apple happens to be in control of Apple TV and iTunes movies, which is where everyone buys their or a lot of people buy their movies. So you come into that with your own library and movies that you can rent and buy and watch in that. The Quest has a Netflix app that's like 4 years old or more that hasn't been updated, this decade. And there are other apps, but like the streaming quality is like streaming in 480. So their own video player, the way that it tracks the wall and it goes into the big screen mode in AR is similar to what Apple's doing, but there's no content there to back that up. So I can't go and watch Game of Thrones, right? I can't watch House of Dragons like that unless I'm streaming it from my PC, and then that becomes a whole other thing. So Meta still has a lot of work to do. I don't know if opening up the OS is going to save them, but I do like that they're taking some
getting close
UI cues from Apple at a more cost-effective price. So we'll see how it plays out, and we'll see if Apple can get something that's below the $1,500 mark or $1,000, $1,200 mark, because I think then they've really got a shot. The only other thing I'll say, and this is probably like a little bit too in the weeds, you and I talked about this. The pass-through on the Quest, if there's an image, an app that you have like in physical space, it renders on top of your hand, but they do a hand overlay so that you can see where your hand is. In the Vision Pro, you actually see your hand.
Yes.
At first I thought I was in awe of what Apple was doing, like really seeing my hand in my body or whatever. But in practicality, I actually like the Quest approach better. Just because the overlay is around my hand is instant, makes me feel like I'm touching something. I don't have the weird jaggies around my hand that is actually more jarring than the overlay around my hands. What up, Fonz? So that's the thing. I'm liking it, but Meta needs to get off their behind and find a default film or film and TV viewing experience. If they can't do Netflix, then they need to work something out with Amazon or whoever. But
Amazon also had an app. It's also Dogwater. All of their streaming apps are not great. Yeah,
they really need to figure that out, because I think that's a killer app on top of the video games.
You know what, though? I honestly think the reason why Amazon and Netflix are not really playing ball there is because they already know what we know, which is that these apps are communal things, and you don't get that communal watching experience in VR. So Amazon and Netflix have no reason to spend any extra time doing this for isolated experiences.
Unless Amazon or Netflix makes their own Quest headset that they can monetize, and then they make an experience for it.
You know, whereas Apple is giving you the content that's literally from IMAX streaming. So in certain cases, literally, like, I remember watching the Vision Pro demo, and it's like they show you a Vision, just a short clip of kids in Nigeria playing on sand, playing soccer, and you feel like you're there. The sun is beaming on your face. The grass, the sand is blade, like you can see it. Versus these, which say they're using your high fidelity Wi-Fi connection, but the pixels are like monsters, and you can see them on your screen, even though the screen could handle it. They're shortcutting. You know what I mean? They're shortcutting, which will give people a bad presentation experience, and then they'll assume that this is crap. Whereas Apple's first perception, or their first time you put it on, you're just like, yo, this is amazing. And it's just because Apple is caring a bit more about how they present it to you than these others are. Dante, let me ask you this, because you are on the Steam side of the house. I've been on the Steam side of the house for a long time until this thing came out, and more, although I still think that the Index is better than this in some ways, because this thing is so well-rounded and doesn't require the cable and all of this. I find myself just using Steam VR with this guy, and the Vive, the Index, the Vive was sold, and the Index is just kind of collecting dust a bit. I do miss my Knuckles controllers, because flipping people off in VR is still amazing. Are you waiting for the next gen Steam?
Yeah, I think I am. So wait, I got a question for you guys. So both of you guys have the Pro as well, the Vision Pro?
No, we're
not Paris. Paris has
everybody buying that crap.
Okay. But we tried it. We have the Quests.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can go to Apple Store and have them put it. They'll give you a 30-minute they'll set it up for you. They'll show you the ins and outs of it. Anybody can go do that for free. Mm-hmm.
So in terms of fidelity, how would you say is compared to Meta's offering?
It's not 7 times better. It's like 10-20% better at this point.
Gotcha.
Definitely nowhere near like this is the problem. Is the user experience and some of the things they're doing on the Vision Pro better? Absolutely, hands down. The question it keeps coming back to, is it 7 or 8 times better?
Yep.
$500 device versus $3,500, but what is really like $4,500.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right. So
yeah. So I personally am waiting for. I want to see what Steam's next offering is going to be. The one thing I will say that I don't like in terms of the Index is obviously having the setup, right? So I got to go into my living room. I got to basically set up my base stations, and
cables, and the base stations,
and then the cables, right? So I would eventually like something that requires less cables, less hassle, and also I really want something that has really, really good fidelity. So while the Index is pretty good, I'm guessing that the Meta's offering is probably a notch better in terms of
it's on par, if a little bit better at this point. How the what, I forget the name of it, the field of view is a little wider on the Quest than it is on there. Like, as you know, whenever Valve gets into the mix, they get into the mix to add a new a new benchmark to it, right? They
Right.
find new tech to bring, hence the Knuckles controllers, right? Nobody does it as better than these. Although I will say the in-game, this is the best thing ever. Like in-game still, there's nothing that beats these guys, right? But in normal UI, normal going around, Quest is good enough, right? Even the hand tracking and all of that, excellent. But when you're playing in-game, all of them turn into standard fare because they don't have the dexterity that this thing has, right? And unfortunately, because the Quest rules the roost as far as the small ecosystem, right? Most games won't implement fidelity and finger tracking in game because everybody's using Quests. So you're not going to use it anyway. You know what I'm saying?
You're not getting a bunch of games taking advantage of what Valve is
exactly.
So
go ahead.
But now I hear Quest is developing haptic gloves, which will be very interesting from a tactile approach. Also, shout out to Fonz. He says he's fighting the shortest member of the crew at E3. See, that might be me at 5'8", but I am coming to E3 with the pimp cape and the glass shoes with the fish in the shoes. So
be like this.
Try your luck if you want to, Fonz.
Hey man, I'm right in the middle. I'm 5'10". I'm good. I'm not too tall, but I ain't gonna be the Everborn Dragon's Dogma 2 of the group. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch the show. The dude made his character 5'3" or something. It was hilarious. Anyway,
probably 4'8", but yeah.
Looking forward to seeing all these people at what do we call it? We don't call it E3. Call it the June gaming season. You know, it's gonna be awesome. Exactly. It's gonna be awesome. You know, but yes, I will put a pin in this and we will move forward. But I think this is a very interesting space to kind of keep an eye on. Because you said that, Mr. Moody, I'm gonna break out the old index and have a game session in the next couple of days just to see how it goes. It's been a while since I've done that. Pro tip, if you didn't know, there's now a mod that turns every Unreal Engine 4 and 5 game into VR, like full VR, hand tracking, the whole nine. Every Unreal Engine 4 and 5 game, and it can be done for free as long as it's in Steam. So any game you have in Steam right now that is what you call the pancake game, you apply this mod and it's a VR game, fully fledged. So we may want to give that a shot. I haven't really tried it out, but I hear like people are having amazing luck with it. People are playing like a GTA and all this stuff with it. See, and this explains a lot. Slow-mo backslap. He's like 6'4" over here. This is why his slander is so damn long. Like, damn. The man.
Yeah, well, I think that's the same height as Drake, and look what the pipsqueak did to him.
You see what's going on? Now he's light skin shaming again. Oh boy.
This was all about. I didn't say anything about light skin. Anything. Don't put words in my mouth, sir. We don't want slow-mo to start crying.
Ankle biters. You saw the ankle biters. That's a shot on the back.
Oh man. We will move quickly along before the virtual tomatoes start flying. Let's move along. So a few little nuggets of news that I heard that I wanted to touch base on with you guys and hear your opinions. First one kind of tickled me, and I have an East Coaster and a West Coaster here, so I have to ask, what do y'all feel about this whole new exclusive talk about there being a Wu-Tang's for Kids game coming out?
I'll believe it when I see it.
Okay,
that's all I can say.
Speak on it. No, speak on it. Well, so as you see, Insider Gaming, and this has been reported way back when. This was reported many years ago at this point, and now they've done a new touch point on it as recently, saying that hey, there's a project coming out, Wu-Tang for the Kids, as they say, and it will be open world-esque, action ARPG, different characters. Game will be old songs will be remade by Just Blaze. Like they're going all out. What do you think, Mr. Everborn?
I mean, I'll be interested to see how it is. It seems like it would fit well in of course it's going to be open world, but I'm saying in an art style that is sort of 3D but cell shaded, like Hi-Fi Rush, especially with the beat, how you have to do things to the beat. So it'd be interesting if it was like a rhythm based open world game that was sort of kung fu style.
I hope they saw Hi-Fi and took note, you know.
That's what I'm saying. Like it could work. But again, so many rumors, so many things that we've seen 4 years ago and don't even have a second trailer yet.
Yep.
So this will excite me when it's closer to release, and I don't think we're getting this anytime soon. So I'm less. I'm not that I'm reserving my excitement to when we get some gameplay and hopefully some relative dates.
I'm putting it down now. We're gonna see it this year. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't at me, people. Don't at me. I have no idea.
Heard it here first. Breaking news.
Breaking news. Sloth. I'm kidding. I am kidding, Sloth. I have no background information. Don't get at me. Anyway,
Sloth operates way faster than that. It's probably an article up already.
I know it's already an article up.
You didn't debunk it fast enough.
Insider, Insider. No, I'm just messing with you. What do you think, Dante? What are your thoughts?
Man, the last time I think we had a game that was centered around hip hop, I think that people were interested was what, the 50 Cent game? If I'm not mistaken, like the last one I can remember. So the idea sounds dope, like, especially if you execute it well. Like Wu-Tang is something that I think Wu-Tang is big enough and popular enough between like a bunch of demographics that if you come with a solid game, you can have something where people are going to basically purchase it. It's a melee combat game, third person. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Combat game. Yeah.
ARPG.
So,
yep.
Yeah, ARPG. Okay. So I'm with Everborn in terms of like, more when we see it, right? Because it's like you can also easily fumble the bag on this and then put out something like, don't tarnish Wu-Tang's name. You know what I'm saying? Don't put out something that ends up hitting low that people aren't going to care about. If you got to do this,
supposedly they are involved. It's not just their IP; they are involved, voice acting, the whole thing.
Okay, then you got to make sure you got to come with something that's going to be pretty solid and more importantly fun. So weave in, make sure you got the music going on. I love hearing stuff about Just Blaze getting involved. Just Blaze is one of my favorite producers. If the gameplay loop is tight, and then the ability to play the different characters within inside the Wu-Tang Clan, and you make it fun, I'm interested. I'm just curious to see. Like, I want to see a trailer though.
We need to start seeing trailers. All these rumors and speculations are getting a little too much, right? And there's more rumors and speculation.
Shout out to Mr. Boomstick XL.
Indeed. Shout out to the man. Good to see you in here, sir. Always great to chat with you. I talk to Boom like almost every day. That man is prolific. He's great. We're always in the background. He will be with us in LA this June. I'm super excited. It's going to be a whole crew. Going to be madness. Expect a lot of footage. We're expected to record maybe podcasts IRL. It'll be amazing. I can't wait. Looking forward to it. Okay, so let's put a pin in this one, and I'm looking forward to hopefully hearing more about it in the near future. There's got to be more, right? There's got to be more. We gotta get a bit more traction on this, because, like you say, like it's an underserved like part of gaming that we've missed. I remember like OG like NES games where they're basketball games with all your various OG at the time hip hop stars. Like I was playing games with what was it, Queen Latifah playing basketball like on NES. You know what I mean? And it seems like right at a certain time, although hip hop hasn't gone away, hip hop games have seemed to take a back seat, and you don't hear or see anything about from them anymore. I think that's unfortunate. So hopefully we see more now. This caught my eye, and I want to chat about a little bit, and we'll see where we take this one. Mr. Everborn Saga, I'll let you get the first bite at this apple. Hasbro spending $1 billion on game development. Did this catch your eye?
I mean, it did. I think Jez had a rant about this yesterday where he rolled his eyes because you can't throw money at the problem. And I'm going to take a different approach from this. I think this is a good thing, right? Because what we were told, right, during the 2-year ABK debacle about competition and big publishers this and big publishers that, and we're told, like, this market is very dynamic. And new studios and now new publishers are popping up every day, right? When was the last? Like, I think Focus Interactive, which I think just had to change their name to
I forget the new name change.
Re-Up or something like whatever they changed their name to. But the point is, they're putting out high quality content. we're seeing this, and these are major IPs with big budgets and AAA stuff. So it's not just indie games. It's actually AAA studios and publishers are still able to spin up. And this is part of why I didn't think the ABK thing was a competition issue. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm not even gonna stir the pot. I'm just saying.
Hey man,
all
the
people that said there was going to be competition with ABK are now talking about whether Microsoft will even be anything more than a third-party publisher. So, what competition was harmed? And they'll never admit that they were wrong. You'll just see that the real goal here was for someone to lose and somebody to win. But whatever, that's a conversation for another day.
It's the right conversation.
Right, but no one wants to have that, right? And no one wants to say I was wrong. Right. And so, but again, I'll save those bars for later. But this is interesting,
someone
right?
Clip that. He just said he was wrong. You can take it out of context. Just clip I was wrong. Clip.
No, I don't have. Listen, you're talking to the person who changed their name to Sonic Sucks, right? To admit I was wrong. So I have the capacity, unlike some of our friends.
Indeed.
Meeting Slow-Mo. But anyway,
wow. He's naming and shaming right now.
No, but Slow-Mo didn't say anything about competition. I was just poking fun at Slow-Mo, but he's been wrong about a lot of movies and helmet takes for Master Chief. But anyway, so this is good. I love seeing this. This is investment. Hopefully this will lead to jobs being picked up. And again, like G.I. Joe screams video game franchise, right? And done right, Transformers could be huge.
That's the point. When I saw this, that was the first thing I thought, right? First, you heard a rumor, well, not a rumor, but you heard a Twitter post from Hasbro themselves saying, hey man, ABK is now part of Microsoft. We want y'all to bring back our old games. They said it with their whole chest. Right. And now you hear they're investing $1 billion in internal gaming development. Does this mean they are more amenable to having that conversation? And we start seeing those old fight for Cybertrons and all those, the war for Cybertrons and all those coming back? Because right now, the only way to really play them is to a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Shout out to my emulators out there. Right. Like, is this a way to bring back those things to get you excited to then hit you with something new because they're developing something new? Do we see something here? Are there conversations in the background? Because that $1 billion in development doesn't necessarily just have to mean $1 billion in spinning up our own studios to get things done. Possibly, maybe work with the studios. What do you think?
The interesting thing is they said they understand that they need to give them the time, which means we're not going to see games from this anytime. This is something that could pop up like 5 years from now, and we'll see what happens.
Indeed.
And the question is, will they still have the stomach to see it through? Yes, they say it now. They're all rosy-eyed and whatever, doe-eyed and rosy-cheeked, whatever.
All that stuff.
And then when they get the realities of you're making 6 games and 5, maybe 6 might not hit, and you're going to spend $1 billion in 5 years with no money coming in, to 5 to 7 years, are they going to be able to convince their investors that that is a worthwhile endeavor for something that's probably going to take realistically a decade before it turns results? And I don't know that they're willing to do that.
For that Transformers gas game where everybody's a Transformer, where you're just I
think that would perfectly translate to a gas game.
Just saying. Right?
You look at Helldivers and you know that G.I. Joe could be another gas game. But some of this. Listen, does Hasbro own He-Man, like Masters of the Universe, like He-Man?
I think they do.
Because with all the TV shows they're doing, that would be a great RPG too.
Their page. I'm looking at a list of their franchises right now. Not seeing. At least it's not on
Hanna-Barbera.
It could be out.
Do they own the toys for Hanna-Barbera? Is the question? Yeah.
Listen, speaking of Hanna-Barbera, do you remember I think it was called The Great Escape? There was this show with the Hanna-Barbera characters where they had a race around the world, and you had Dirt Dastardly.
Dirt Dastardly and Muttley going all the time.
Right.
Yes, I remember that.
Turning that into a game an open world racing game, like that would be amazing. So to me, they have the IP, and if they're gonna put money behind it,
bro,
and they can turn, because remember, everything they do, remember, this comes back to create things so we can sell merch, because that's what Hasbro is. They're a toy company.
Yes,
right?
absolutely. Yes.
And
I used to live like 2 minutes away from Hasbro HQ. Like 2 minutes. Every time you'd walk by the big what do you call it, Mr. Potato Head, I'm just like, that's Hasbro. My childhood is right.
Okay, they say Mattel is Masters of the Universe. Okay, I got it. But still, Hasbro, right? Like, if the name of the game
Wacky
is
Races,
the merchandise,
that's the name of the show.
Yes,
Wacky Races. That's right. Yes,
if the name of the show, the name of the game is merchandising, they have that part. So whenever they have made a movie or a TV show, it was to sell toys.
Yeah.
So it could be they're doing this because not necessarily like, oh, this needs to turn a profit on its own, but if we can use this to sell toys, maybe they're doing amiibo type stuff, it could be huge for them. And it's not whether I care.
We may need to change this man's name for the new school. Just saying, Dick Muttley.
You know, I knew what his name was, but I didn't want to say it.
Anyway,
but the Graybeards know what show this is. So the thing is, I think whether they make money or not is good, but the fact that it whether it can be worthwhile for them to be in the game publishing business, I think is a positive, because we always want to see more investment. We always want to see more of this. And I'm excited to see those games translated into AAA games, not just indie stuff. But there is a G.I. Joe beat 'em up coming soon. The demo was out the other day. So that's the beginning of this.
Just so you know, a touch point for someone who may not understand. Mask. Does anybody remember M.A.S.K? To me, that was the Fast and Furious before Fast and Furious. I need that to come back in a big way.
Who made Silverhawks?
Silverhawks is not in their franchise.
I'll think it's not them though.
Hasbro got GoBots. They got Mask, which I loved. Micro Machines, obviously, Mr. Potato Head.
What about Bionic 6? See, now we having a conversation.
I'm looking at their IPs here. This is not part of it. G.I. Joe, obviously. Action Man.
Allies. Mr. Potato Head.
Here's the funny thing.
What about Space Ghost?
Power Rangers.
Wow. Power Rangers, yes. They're also the owners of Peppa Pig, believe it or not. Peppa Pig, which has been making a lot of money in the last couple of years. You know what I mean? So maybe this is all what's spurring them to head more.
Do you guys remember that Dark Water show, the pirate show?
Yeah,
Pirates of Dark Water. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Does Hasbro own that? Listen, I'm just trying to get some of these cartoons to come back. I'm watching X-Men 97 and I'm like, listen, let's go. That's really what I'm excited about for this.
Me and the kids are watching Dragon Ball Z. It's opening up a whole new world for them, right? I'm like, yo, let me tell you about Tiny Toon Adventures, ladies and gentlemen. we're doing all this stuff.
They did bring that back, but the new one is not like...
The new one's not good. I'm actually letting them see the old one.
Pirates
of Dark Water.
Yeah, that's Hasbro.
That's Hasbro. Let's go.
That's Hasbro.
There you go.
That's what they need to bring back. Give Sea of Thieves some competition. Pirates of the Dark Water.
Yeah. Man, I'm just saying, Hasbro taking gaming seriously has the potential to be amazing. It has the potential to be wild. I am so looking forward to it. Let's start putting that into the universe.
Use these games to sell the toys and like get excitement about adaptations of their older IP. It makes sense. I'm here for it. I have no idea whether it will work, but I am rooting for them.
Me too. Absolutely. So to the 314 people watching and or in the chat, salute to y'all. Thank you so much for being here. Continue to hit that like button if you have not done so already. Consider subscribing if this is your first time here. This is what we do every single weekend. We're here, we're doing this. And we were holding a contest to get some people the coins. Hashtag HB2 is how you enter. I will draw another name in like 5 minutes. So if you haven't done so, hashtag HB2, and you could be walking away with a free Hellblade 2 coin, ladies and gentlemen. So salute to y'all for being here. and we will actually raffle off 3 more, but those will be for specifically the members of our fine channel. So thank you, members, for continuing to power this show and power this channel. Thank you guys so much. But before we do that one, let me do a little bit of a thing. We did some on the real talk. Let's talk about this real quick, because my take is hilarious, ridiculous, and clearly untrue. But I want your takes on it. I saw this, and the first thing I thought was, yo, this is a big psyops just to make sure Halo stays trash. Sony is buying Paramount for $26 billion so that you know that Master Cheeks won't die.
well, how about this? Sony co-produced them for Amazon. Sony wasn't, obviously they did Last of Us. Maybe they could make Halo show better. I'm just saying.
But why would they? Because, they're petty and they don't like to help the other one.
Yeah, but then when Halo comes to PlayStation, it'll just make sense.
Oh, there he goes, slander. There we go. Okay. We will talk about that.
No, but what I want to know, although Halo Season 2 is amazing, I don't care what Slow-Mo says. I loved it, and I think they should have started with that. Jokes aside, now, do I care about this? No. Although I wasn't very happy with the way Sony handled the Crunchyroll and Funimation merger, because they just basically canceled Funimation, and that doesn't exist anymore. Or
absolutely doesn't. Yep.
And so you got to do everything through Crunchyroll now. But the thing that I would say is, if you were anti-consolidation, and all of the anti-consolidation people I saw got nothing to say about this, even though Paramount is a major film producer and television producer, and they own many TV networks, right? And so the idea that this is I won't call it Disney Fox, but it's like, you can't really have a Disney Fox right now. Paramount and Sony merging is huge. I don't have an issue with it, but I feel like if you had an issue with some other mergers and you're quiet about this, this says all I need to know.
Yeah, indeed it does.
People only care about the size of a merger when it's the company that they like.
Yep.
Yes. Or they dislike.
Yeah, exactly. It depends on where their alliances lie, and that's when, for most people, some people are objective, but a lot of people, if they're caught up in the fandom on one way or the other, they care based upon which particular company that they have a bias towards. So, yeah, that's why it's pretty quiet. It's crickets right now.
So, but again, what I subscribe to Paramount, and Paramount has the whole Top Gun franchise and Star Trek. And they have the contract to do the Halo and the Sonic universe, right? That's those are the production partners. So it'll be interesting to see which way that goes. But I would not be at all surprised if they did this and they shut down Paramount Plus and they just started licensing their stuff like Sony does with their own content, because they're not huge on streaming services
and streaming services. Absolutely.
They'd rather license their stuff out to other ones. And again, they definitely canceled Funimation when that came out. Thank God they're keeping Crunchyroll, because I think they're the only ones in the Western market that are really doing that. And obviously you can get anime on Amazon and Netflix, but not like Crunchyroll. So they really have cornered that market. So the question is, does Sony do this to get their own streaming service to put their stuff there, or do they get this for the content and shut the streaming service down? That is the question that I have around this. And I say that with no judgment. It is just interesting to see what they will do.
Yep. And my an additional question on my part is, when this news became more common knowledge, did some people in the Haloverse that are responsible for the show have a side eye and go, "Oh boy, what does this mean for us?" Because it's taken them a long time to get there.
I have a side eye as a fan of the franchise, man.
Hold on. I have a side. I've had a side eye because as much ratings. I think it was the third highest streaming show of all the streamers. There's been no season 3 announcement. And what that makes me wonder is if the first one was poorly received, but they had already like spent the money to produce those sets. So they had already just amortized it across 2 seasons. And so could it be that they weren't going to renew Halo anyway? Because why haven't we, like, we already have,
if they don't.
But because here's the thing, we already have a Fallout Season 2 announcement. When House of the Dragon, when Last of Us ended, 2 weeks later, here's your Season 2 announcement. There is no Season 3 announcement for Halo, and that's before this. So if this does go through, I don't want people to say Sony killed it, because it's very possible that they weren't going to renew it anyway.
Yes. I'm being ridiculous. Let's be clear. I am being ridiculous. This is not real. The psyops is not real.
Yeah, but people will say it though, right? Whether they hear it from you or not. That's what people will say.
Of course they will. Yes.
So for me, I would love the announcement for a season 3, but I am 50-50 whether that will happen irrespective of this buyout. Now, someone asked, what does Sony have to do with this? It's a joint offer from Sony and Apollo. So it's not like Apollo is just putting up the $26 billion. They're doing this together.
Yeah, that's right. So let's get quickly to a super chat. Wiggleman, $5 super chat. He says, "Great show. This is my first time here by Mr. Boomstick's recommendation." Shout out to the great man, Mr. Boomstick. He says, "Question:
Thank you for joining us.
What's a gas or mask game?" So, okay, gas game is games as a service game. Now, when you say
that would be 2 A's.
2 A's. That's right. When you say mask game, we were speculating on a game based on the property of Mask, and this will be my opportunity to educate the youngins because we are the graybeards here, ladies and gentlemen. This is the moment. This is the moment. Yes, I will, and I won't put audio on in fear of us getting demonetized, and this probably might demonetize us anyway. But this is the opening scene to one of the greatest cartoons ever, which I still say should have come out instead of the Fast and the Furious, because I think the Fast and the Furious is still a little bit of a shine. But at the end of the day, it should get a new IP.
I remember this now.
Back. Oh my God. It would be amazing. Right?
It shows how old we are.
The gray beards are in full effect, ladies and gentlemen. It is what it is. This is what we're talking about. We want this game, this IP to be brought back. And what are they? They're literally just cars that can transform into other things as they need to. Right, and as you can see it here on display. But can you imagine this be a Vin Diesel vehicle? I can imagine this be a Vin Diesel vehicle, right? Like, and let's be clear, Fast and Furious has basically gone in this direction anyway. I want to see them merge the Fast and Furious with the Mask franchise because it would be amazing. All you got to do is just put helmets on, and you're there. Absolutely, they got planes, they got automobiles, the whole thing.
They did it with Transformers and G.I. Joe. They can do it with
the Fast and Furious and Mask. You know what I'm saying? So yes, this is and like these are the cartoons we used to watch on Saturday mornings, ladies and gentlemen. These are our Saturday morning cartoons. So back in the day, this thing was major. I'm hoping that with Hasbro going, you know what, we're thinking of taking gaming more seriously, that they look at their old franchises and recognize that those kids who used to play them are now #graybeards who would spend copious amounts of money in this world if they could play a game in it. So there you go. That's what we're talking about. This is Mask, M.A.S.K. There you go. Anyway, let us move forward. I have 2 more stories I want to talk about, and they kind of dovetail into each other, and maybe that will round out the show for this week, and we'll keep it concise. We'll see if we hit that 3-hour mark. We might just be under it, which would be great. Let's check this out. So the first story, which I thought was super interesting, which leads into our second story, is AMD is reporting weak hardware sales. Now, why is this useful? Oh, is this a handheld thing? Oh, there they go again with their PCMR stuff. No, this is AMD reporting weak gaming sales across the board. Now, what does AMD do? Yes, AMD are the purveyors. They are the chip makers for most of the handhelds you see out there besides the Switch, right? So if you're talking about your Steam Deck, yes, that has an AMD APU being CPU and GPU combination, right? If you're talking about your ROG Ally, you're talking about your Legion Go, all the various odd handhelds here and there, all run a flavor of that AMD APU. But guess what? So do your consoles of today. So does the Xbox Series X and S. So does the PS5, right? So it looks like the chip maker that is the fundamental bedrock of all this hardware being made, they're reporting a 48% year-over-year drop in gaming revenue. And if you read the article, it says that it looks like it's going to get worse before it gets better, right? Super interesting. While people are reporting all this stuff, Xbox's sales are down, right? PlayStation's touting a lot of numbers, but and please, gentlemen on the panel and in the chat, forgive me, correct me if I'm wrong. They haven't reported sell-through numbers. They've just reported numbers. We don't know if these are numbers that are still in stores to be sold or literally on turned on and in consumers' hands. That number has kind of been fuzzy so far. And I'm not talking about Belvedere. I'm talking about the other kind of fuzzy. Shout out to you, sir. So I'm thinking that this is all a matter of marketing and how PlayStation has potentially been selling the perception of their success. But with the underlying problem that AMD is pointing out here, it may not be so rosy in console land. Dante, sir, I'll start with you. How does this news grab you? Is this thing surprising to you, or is this par for the course, being that we're in 2024 and we have so many options available to us?
I don't know, man. I'm kind of puzzled by this one because 48% is a pretty...
It's a big number.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, if you say, we're down 10, 15% or, something underneath 15, that's acceptable, right? That's basically normal flow of business. It could be an off year, but 48% is a pretty steep decline. And to be across both consoles and basically for graphics cards for PC, I was one would want to think that the PC market was people are still always looking for building new rigs, upgrading the graphics cards. So that one is pretty shocking. I hope it doesn't mean that people are less interested in gaming, because I don't see it, but maybe if the concern is the younger generation is not as involved right now when it comes to either building themselves a rig or purchasing a console, that's a little troubling, especially for someone like me who enjoys the console space. And then I also have, obviously a nice gaming PC. So I don't know, man. I want to hope that this is just a down year, and maybe also too, because in the space of gaming, development has taken so much longer for really high quality AAA experiences to come out, that there's just not enough cadence of games where people are like, oh man, I definitely got to go out and either upgrade my PC, or I definitely got to go out and upgrade to a new console because these games are coming out that are going to be fire. There's a lot of games that take longer now, so maybe that in a way is kind of impacting where the consumer is at.
So I have to ask you a question. Being that you said you have a PC, obviously, because you are an Index user, AMD or NVIDIA for your GPU?
NVIDIA.
Okay, and I will tell you that there are two others on this panel that are also NVIDIA users. I will put a poll into the chat for those who have these console PCs, AMD or NVIDIA, and please be honest. Let's see, NVIDIA, and we'll get a read of it, because I think that when it comes to PC specifically, it's that NVIDIA has basically taken over the zeitgeist, right? Even though it may not be well earned, and I see some folks in the chat who will come for me with that statement, because they're quick to tout Team Blue.
You know what I find very, very interesting about all this as a console experience gamer?
Sure.
For the last God knows how many years, I have heard PC people call us console people emotional, saying that we're tied to brands, we're tied to all of this, and then you talk to a PC. Wait a minute. Let me get these bars off, sir. Now, you PC people, you people, yes.
You got a 30 series and you got a 4090 in your bedroom,
and I'm getting a 5090 next year for the living room. That is besides the point.
And then after that, he says,
you people are just as dogmatic about Nvidia versus AMD and Steam versus Epic Game Store and all of that. You guys are religious about it and you love your brands just like the console warriors, but you like pointing your fingers like we crazy. You are just as bad.
Get them.
So
and
first
and everybody in the chat knows I'm right, whether they want to agree to it or not. Slow-mo.
Ever fraud saga. Let's just first and foremost, I don't care. I've built an AMD machines. I currently have an NVIDIA machine. I have all consoles. I could care less. I have no, and Everborn uses that against me. I have no allegiance to anything. You give me what I want, I'm there. You don't, I'm stepping. So don't talk about you people like that. That's a whole different conversation.
People are
you. What do you mean, you people?
You people know exactly what I mean. And what do I always say? If the shoes don't fit, the strays won't hit.
Here you go. So I put it in the chat. Guys, let's hear it. And this is specifically for PC and to your point, everyone. Fun jokes aside, I criticize PC people as well for that exact reason. Oh, it's not on Steam. Like, shut up, man. You're getting free games. If it's free, it's for me. The first thing I did, and shout out to our Discord, join our Discord, because the first thing I did in my Discord is, what did I do? I put a bot that tells you all the free games coming out and when they're coming out and where they are. If you give me a free game, I will be there. I have so many free games on the Epic Game Store, so many free games on the Twitch now, Amazon Gaming Store. I don't care where you give me a free game. I will take that free game and say thank you. Does that mean I'm a loyal tattoo on my arm? Hell no. If you give me something that is valuable for me, I will take it. I don't care what store. I don't care what launcher. Those who are so militant about their launchers, I look at you with a side eye with that one.
That is because you have no standards, sir.
Yeah, sure.
I don't walk out on the street and say, "Oh, I'll just take anything that's offered to me." No, you gotta have standards and morals and principles and what
if you are a person who only games on Steam, you're dogmatic. But if you get anywhere,
respect for yourself, okay?
Exactly. Just because somebody's offering you free candy or free, you know what, don't mean it's worth taking.
Bro, I'm not buying GTA 5 for the umpteenth time. I bought it on PlayStation. I bought it on Xbox. If the Epic Game Store will give me Unreal GTA 5, I will say thank you very much, and I will take it. Right? And if that means I'm a heathen for not rebuying it on Steam, then call me a heathen. It is what it is. And those who have a problem just hitting install to download a launcher so you can get a free game, yeah, y'all are the problem, I think. Forgive me. But let's continue on here. My question, and specifically to what Dante was talking about on that side, right? I think specifically with PC, it's because NVIDIA has ruled the roost for a long time. And speaking of our poll here, it looks like even in the chat that's true. 72 to 28% and growing. Like, please let your opinion be known. If you're a PC user, what is your graphics card? Chances are it is definitely NVIDIA on that side. Now, when it comes to consoles, though, it's all NVIDIA. I mean, it's all AMD with the exception of Switch, right? So I honestly think it's super interesting that the purveyor of both hardware platforms is now coming out and saying, "Look, man, say what you will about who's making more money and who's succeeding here in the console sales and this and that. At the end of the day, the fundamental bedrock, the APUs that power them both, is not selling at the rate that it should be selling." Let me ask you a question, right? Yes. Shout out to the man Doc Dark for being in the chat. What's going on, brother?
If AMD's
standing
hardware sales are down, that just is reflective of their chip orders from, obviously it's many other things, but part of that, those numbers being down, is reflective of Microsoft and Sony orders being lower. Is that the case? So
this is the case.
If that is the case, and I don't know if that's correct, but please someone correct me if I'm wrong. If somebody's seething right now because I said Sony might be selling less consoles, I know there's someone. But if that is in fact the case, and hardware sales are down on Sony when their quarterly report comes out at the end of this month. Are we gonna think that PlayStation's dying? Are we gonna have a million articles about the dip, or what are we gonna do?
Well, hold on. Before we head down that slander, the great Infinite Umbra with a $2 super chat. He says, "Who's up in that Kendrick versus Drake beef?" Sir, we addressed that early on in the program. It brought about a lot of slander. Head back there, and I guess the answer to the question is, how old are you, sir? Because the answer will be different depending on how old you are.
No, I don't even know this has anything to do with age. It's when people are having those Mount Rushmore conversations, age comes in. But if you're just talking about who's up in this,
yes, indeed.
Listen. I would just say that maybe. Drake named his son Adonis. If Drake named his son Adonis, that means that he is Apollo. And if that was the case, I would say Kendrick is Ivan Drago.
Oh, come on! That is
pretty accurate.
If you know, you know.
That's pretty accurate.
Did you see the tweet that came out from Russ from Retro Game Core comparing the Genesis version of Aladdin to the PlayStation to the Nintendo version of Aladdin, and
wait a minute,
Genesis version was Kendrick, and the Nintendo version was Drake.
What about the one where they showed Piccolo and young Gohan and they said Kendrick and Adonis?
Yep.
I want you to think about that real quick, since you're watching Dragon Ball Z right now.
Y'all are going hard right now. Yes, I know exactly. I love the comparisons. You know, you never know what people listen to or what's in their CD case, as it were, until these comparisons come out. And then I got to dip my hat real low because a lot of people coming out with some really choice words. It's amazing. It's amazing. But let's get back to this conversation real quick, okay? Because I think this specific article here about AMD sales slumping left and right here dovetails really nicely into this conversation right here, which is that Hellblade 2, after getting y'all to enjoy the game, getting people really invested, there's some microtransactions purchased, we're all in here, right? Now they're saying, well, we had some technical issues at the beginning of it, but now we are insisting that you link your PlayStation account to this game in order to continue playing it. Now, there are two schools of thought here, and I'll let you all go off on this. But the two schools of thought is, one side of me says, Microsoft has been doing this since time immemorial, baby. There's nothing really wrong with that. If you've been playing Minecraft, I don't care where you've been playing it, you've been tying your Microsoft account, right? If you're playing Sea of Thieves right now on PlayStation 5, good on you. You're getting Microsoft Achievos because there's a Microsoft account tied to it. Everywhere their games live, they like to put their Microsoft account on there as well, so that they can get that MAU or whatever, the monthly active users, and they can get the telemetry for how you're playing and all of this. That's one side of the house. So this is me just going, shouldn't be a big deal. But the other side of the coin is, not everybody is treated as equal citizens in this gaming sphere, right? And what this is doing is, this is literally separating people. Because if you happen to live in some countries where there is no PlayStation Plus account, right? If I live in many African countries, except for the one African country that does allow it, which is South Africa, and I'll leave you to your imagination to wonder why that is. Every other African country does not allow you to even sign into your PlayStation Plus account. Now, obviously you can play Steam games on there, and people have been buying it just like everywhere else does. The moment you mandate this, now all of a sudden you're telling those account users, those gamers who've been playing, that you no longer have access to the game you purchased. Obviously, you're outside of the return window period. Maybe you bought some microtransactions. All that is forfeit because you are not allowed to play on the PlayStation. You do not have the rights to have a PlayStation account in Africa. And Africa is not the only one. There are many other countries where they are not deemed first-class citizens, and as such, they don't get access to those accounts, right? Those are the two sides of the coins of it, which I think are both worth the conversation. But ultimately, before I let you go, I will tell you that this is a harbinger of possibly good things to come. Because as I've said, everywhere Xbox's games go, so does their Microsoft account, right? this is Helldivers 2's first foray into that waters. Does this mean there is a plan moving forward to spread this game around a bit more? Mr. Moody, sir, I will let you take the first bite at this apple. What are your thoughts on this news? And of course, the backdrop that, hey, console sales may not be what you think they are because they are down year over year. And now we see this. What are your thoughts, sir?
So you think, I wonder if this gives more credence to the idea of they're having negotiations about potentially bringing Helldivers over to the Xbox side. I mean, that would, business-wise, it makes sense, right? If you are not moving as many units, right? You're not moving as many units in terms of hardware sales, and software is the one thing you want people, especially at games as a service. The more people who are able to purchase your microtransactions and keep themselves involved in the game is better for the company, right? I think Fuzzy Belvedere hit it pretty on the nose earlier, where he said it's data also. So I think PlayStation doing this, basically they want to show that their PSN numbers, they want to inflate those, right? That looks good to say.
Now.
Right. There's many people who are basically signing in and then playing our games, and the same thing with Xbox with the monthly active users and people who are constantly signed into Xbox Live, be it if you're doing it through your computer or if you're doing it on Xbox. If this is a harbinger for like things to come, I mean, that would be cool. Again, I don't know what Sony, man. I really don't. Like, I think they have to be in a position where they're really like, the margins aren't good for them to really say, okay, we're gonna push the needle and consider bringing some games to the Xbox platform, right? And I think over time, if it becomes that situation where they're seeing Xbox is seeing a lot of success by getting their games in the PlayStation Store, and Xbox games are in like their top 10 of sales or whatnot, they're going to say, well, hey, we're missing out on revenue by not having some games that make sense that we can put on the Xbox side. But I think they need to get to that point where it forces their hand, where they're saying, hey, the math is not mathing enough for us to keep this just specifically to PlayStation and PC. And if you want to grow the game, you grow the game to as many players as you possibly can. It makes more sense for something too that's not technically one of your direct first party studios. So I don't see like why you wouldn't. But
so
I don't know. Wait and see.
I have a conspiracy theory.
Hey, put the tinfoil koofies on. Put them koofies on, ladies and gentlemen. Put the koofies in the chat. Now, go for it, sir.
I wonder if when does their fiscal quarter end?
Oh, that's a question putting me on the spot. Let's find it.
Because
this is PlayStation's fiscal quarter?
Yes. So, and this is going to determine whether what I'm saying makes sense or not. Because I know they have the quarterly report, but that happens after the quarter has ended.
It's coming soon. The last report I saw was on May 1st, 2023. So I assume it's very close to there right now. Right.
So
this was 2023.
It ends on May 1st. This quarter.
Let me see here. Yeah, I suspect it may end because the last one I'm seeing is Derek Strickland. This was a 2023 report, but it was about their fiscal quarter ending on May. Yeah.
Well, May. Okay, let me put it to you this way. If I knew my PSN subscriber numbers were going down, and this is how I'm telling investors to judge me, then I'm going to want people signing into my PlayStation Network so I can count them to offset the number going down. And so Hellblade is one of the biggest sellers this year, and many millions of those are from Steam. So you may want to add that to your monthly active user numbers for when you have to report to your investors. And so that's what the only reason I'm saying that is that's why you would do this so abruptly and so aggressively. If it was to show some numbers somewhere.
Just so you know, and I don't have the specific 2024 one, but in 2023, their fiscal quarter announcement information was made available May 14th. I mean May 5th, May 14th last year. So it is right about now. It's getting close.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, but this is by June 4th, so we'll see. But again, this is not something that bothers me at all, right? Like I wish all of my Steam Xbox games I could sign into my Xbox account and get
your achievements, get all that stuff.
So to me, I think this is a good thing. It shows more embrace of the PC, which means they can have a more cohesive experience for their customers. So I think it's a good thing, and I think people like to complain, and I think they'll complain for a couple of weeks, but they'll get over it. So I don't think it's the end of the world.
Do you think it's like we're more okay with it because we're used to it as console players, whereas PC players who primarily play on PC, they don't like the idea of having to leave? Like, because you like back to the conversation about launchers, right? People who they don't want to download the Epic launcher, or they don't want to download, any other one, right? They're like, I don't want to have to go through an extra step. I want to use the one I primarily like to live in. Do you think that's because of what they're used to? We're more adapt to it, but PC primary players are like, man, what do you have me doing? Like, they're just more kind of stuck in that regard.
I think they like to complain. That's what I think. And I think that, like, they're not doing something crazy like Alan Wake 2 did and said you got to download a whole other launcher, right? They're just saying sign into our account, you'll get these achievements, whatever, link the account. That is not the end of the day, because doesn't Activision make you link your Battle.net account or your Call of Duty account?
All of them do.
Everybody does it. It's a service game.
You gotta have. I think what might be a little different in this compared to others is if they require it as a mandate, then it's required from jump, right? Getting people in, enjoying their game, especially the small nugget of folks that can't get a PlayStation account, making sure you're in there, you're spending money, you bought the game, and now it's mandated to the point where you probably.
Let me take that a step further. Those people in those regions that can't make that account, they've been surviving because this is not the first time this is happening for them. So I'm sure they know how to switch regions and deal with this thing.
But what I'm saying is maybe you don't buy that game. Maybe you don't buy that game because it says
this is my argument. There is no one that bought Helldivers, and I'm saying that facetiously, but generally, right? There's no one that bought Helldivers that's like, oh, I'm buying this specifically because I don't got to make a PlayStation account. Like, I don't think that was a real thing. You got to make the account. You got to make the account. So what?
And
going forward, they're making these games. They should make you sign it.
None of their games until today, none of their games have required you signing it.
They didn't have the infrastructure in place yet. So what? If this helps facilitate them fully embracing PC and moving to PC day and date, then this is a necessary evil. And I don't even think it's that
standing
evil.
With my African brothers, and clearly nobody else feels the same way, because there are people in Africa right now very upset that they now have to possibly give up their game.
But those people, is Sony the only one that doesn't support those specific African countries?
No, even Xbox doesn't. But
all right, so how are they dealing? Are they not playing Xbox games?
Obviously they're not.
Right? All right, but I'm sure EA is doing the same thing. I'm sure EA and UB and these other people are doing the same thing. So they're just not buying every game that doesn't support that reason. They find ways around it.
They should have. I'll just say
they shouldn't have
required it from day one.
But they do.
They should have required it from day one.
It wasn't ready at day one.
A quick pin. Ice cold, baby. You are the winner of the second Hellblade 2 coin, sir. Ice cold, or he or she. What's going on, Ice Cold? I hope you hear this message. If you do, you have 48 hours, sir, whether you choose to accept it. Please reach out to me in the DMs or on Discord or email, wherever you can find me. Reach out to me and I will get your information and we will send you that Hellblade 2 coin, sir, because you have won. Now, there are 3 more chances for our members to win. Those will be announced at the end of the show because members, y'all get that special treatment. We're going to make sure that only the members get a choice, get an option for 3 coins. But thank y'all so much. Ice Cold, you are a winner, sir.
All right.
Salute.
So I have just been apologizing for Sony for a little while. Let me give them a little bit of smoke.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I can't pronounce your name, so Kusanagi? Song, yeah. The way they rolled this out was bad, right? Like, you don't tell Arrowhead about this, and they just got to deal with like all of this community anger and things like that. That's not really cool. So this could have been rolled out in a better way. And again, I'm fine with this all like going forward. It's there on day one, which it seems like what they're going to do. And I think they should do that.
Yes.
But they could have rolled out the messaging around this better. You knew this wasn't going to go over well when you heard it. It's as stupid as it is. And so at the very least, give the studio a heads up because they got to manage this.
And to make me feel a little better, tell those places that you know damn well can't create an account, you'll give them their money back. It's not many of them in comparison to the vast swath of Helldivers 2 players. If you want them to go pseudo around your
money back, cut it out.
But this is my problem. This is creating
all sales are final.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think that's an issue though. Like if I purchase your game and then 6 months later down the line, you say, hey, our policy is going to be this. And if you can't, you're not in a region that you can basically adhere to our policy, your game is now dead in the water and I don't get a refund.
Yeah.
No, that's why. That's why.
That's wild.
Steam might do it. Shout out to Fuzzy Bevel there. Because Steam tends to be, they don't want no troubles. Steam will just be like, look, man, no problem. They tend to be that way.
Steam's like J. Cole.
Damn, man.
Kofi catch Cole make the smartest decision out of everybody, bro.
Yes. And by the way, Slow, I get it. It was always there.
Wait, what was always there?
The ability to sign into your link it to your PlayStation account, but it was optional in the beginning. I did it day one when I bought the game. I signed in because I like having that continuity. I don't care, but the fact that it's mandated, right? And there will be a time where you log in and you will not be able to play unless you have signed into your account. That becomes a problem for the people that play that game but can't have an account in your region, right? Now all of a sudden they got to account for a VPN, right? Like. I understand there are ways around it. I get it, but
you gotta roll it out. Says it said it would eventually be required. They
Since
said
when?
That from day one.
It said it from day one. Oh well, then I stand corrected. Then that's a problem. Yeah.
This is like the people who didn't read the review notes for Dragon's Dogma and complained after the fact. Look at
that's
that.
Hilarious. Right?
Reading is fundamental.
Fundamental. Yes, that's right. That's right. But no, I get it being out of nowhere, seemingly. Oh, now it's a problem, right? But again, while that is a factor in the equation, and while I've also already said that I really don't care, I signed up day one, I really do think this will potentially lead to where I think this is going, which is our hardware sales are down, right? Unlike some other platforms, our only means to an end today is selling you a box to then sell you the game, right? This is our tippy toes into the idea of maybe we don't need to sell you a box to sell you a game. And how can we account for all of the people that are in our ecosystem? We make sure they sign up to our account, right? So we can track them from telemetry purposes, for MAU purposes, right? And then maybe these things live on beyond the platform. They live on beyond the PlayStation, right? I saw somebody Photoshop a thing that says, not only does it require a PlayStation account, but it also requires a PlayStation subscription. That would have been wild to do that to Steam, but that of course did not happen. What do you think of that, Everborn? The idea that this is their first step in, okay, clearly our means to an end is no longer as advantageous for us as it used to be, right? Now we have to venture out if we want to keep these games where they are, right? And just like we were talking about with Xbox, right? This is a you can't beat them, join them kind of conversation. Okay, y'all don't like that we keep giving you quote unquote exclusives. No exclusives anymore. We will let the games live where they live, right? Look at the Sea of Thieves review numbers versus Xbox's review numbers, right? We will play ball to make sure that we get what we want, which is ultimately you to buy the game and enjoy the game, right? Is this not PlayStation doing the same thing but at a slower rate? What do you think, sir?
I mean, yeah, but we've said this, right? Like we see all of this multi-platform talk, whatever. That's happening now because they've already fully embraced PC. So the growth vector there is going to be in line with PC growth. If you need faster growth than that, they are in a position where they have to either steal Sony's customers or sell to Sony's customers on their platform. Sony's not in that position right now because they haven't really truly fully tapped the PC well yet. So they have all of that to tap before we start talking about things like Helldivers on Xbox or whatever. So this is them doing the same thing that Microsoft did 5-6 years ago when they fully embraced PC. So
what have we said on various programs? We've said don't listen to what they say. Look at what Microsoft did 4 or 5 years ago, because that's what they're doing 100%. So let me close my poll and just to drive that point. The poll, man, the poll in the chat. Calm down.
Okay.
Calm down. Man babies over here. Man baby. Right. Anyway,
I apologize.
Jesus. With 70 people who weighed in, AMD 34%, Nvidia 66%. So in the waters of the PC land, I think that's probably what's going on there, right? They haven't done enough to entice people back into being more competitive. If you're buying a PC, chances are you're buying an Nvidia-backed GPU PC, and that's hurting them in the numbers. And it looks like in the console space, something similar is happening. Well, not even something similar necessarily is happening. It looks like, by and large, that pool that we keep talking about, where the hardcore PlayStation, the hardcore console gamers will buy the hardware. They are, but there's not enough of them. So it looks like these guys are forcing people to branch out a little bit, and because of that, they need to start instituting things like this. I, for one, say, hey man, if you really care, get that VPN. I'm with you guys. I'm playing devil's advocate, but I'm with you guys. We are gamers. We find a way. We always do, right? So this will be another way that you have to skirt around the how things are in favor of getting your game on. So I don't think ultimately it will be the worst thing in the world. Before we get out of here, I want to touch quickly on the conversation that happened on X.com over the last couple of days, and I want for you to weigh in on this, Everborn, or you could just say it's much ado about nothing and we can move forward. But I want to hear your thoughts, yourself and Dante's thoughts on it. Friend of the show, Jez Corden, was caught unawares. He was having a private conversation on the Discords, and for some reason, it came out on Front Street, and basically saying what you were alluding to before there, Mr. Everborn Saga, about all the games, all of Microsoft's games going everywhere. When I say everywhere, I'm talking about the Holy Grail. I'm talking about the hamburgers, fries, and the shake. You know what I'm talking about there, right? And it sent people reeling, and it was like, conversations were being had, and more FUD was being slung left and right. I will just say, it's always interesting to me how whenever there's a showcase about to go down, and where the hype train is starting to chug, there's always something that comes out that derails the conversation and turns it into gloom and doom.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that's what Jez was doing. I'm just saying somehow it always ends up happening.
Well, what I would say is whenever that happens, it's usually the call is coming from inside the house. It's usually a rake that they have stepped on that leads to that kind of talk. Now, again, I do believe there's too many people crying in the community. I do believe that like Xbox fans give Xbox tax more than some of these media sites. But it doesn't mean that like they're not the cause of this stuff. And had they just waited until there's nothing I don't care what they say. They did not make enough money from Sea of Thieves or Grounded or what do you call it that is worth the damage that they did to the brand. At least that they couldn't say, let's wait till next year so we can at least give customers 18 months of solid output to have a foundation to build on. They're not denying any of the crazy allegations like the Gears and the Forzas. And should they have to come out and deny everything? No. But the fact that it's even a thought in people's minds that your platform is not going to have any main content draw is wild. And they put that thought in people's heads. So I can't say, every time they have something big come up, how about if the rake's right in front of you, don't step on it? How about if you're going to go multi-platform, do that in 2025? How about have a cohesive vision internally where it's not different messages coming from different parts of the company and internally everybody's so secretive? How about that? And then we don't have to have these discussions, because yes, I think the summer showcase is going to blow us all away. I think it's going to be amazing. I think we're going to see all the things we want, and we're going to realize what a powerhouse of a game publisher they are. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Xbox as a brand is going to get any of the benefit from it. I think the games will be hyped for, but it is not going to make people say, wow, I need to buy an Xbox now. It's going to make them say, wow, I can't wait for those games to come out. And maybe that's what they want. Right?
On PlayStation. I can't wait for those games to come out on PlayStation.
I want you to watch what is going to get mentioned more during that showcase. And I promise you it will be PlayStation.
Yeah, my man FTW knows what's up.
So the better the show is, mm-hmm. the more undeniable the show is, the more people will say, when are these games coming to PlayStation? And they cannot go out and answer every one of these questions. I just think they should have built a foundation, and they should have said there's certain pillars that are sacred cows that are not going to get touched. And barring that clarification, people are well within their rights to assume anything. So I'm not surprised that people took Jez's out of context private conversation and ran with it and wrote articles, because Xbox has really set this foundation for people to speculate like that. I'm sorry. You can love them all you want. They have done this, and it doesn't matter. This is comms 101. I bet you Luli Chen Meserve would tell you this. It is not what you say. It is not what the truth is. It is what people hear.
Yeah.
And right now, like, anything goes is what is the energy they're giving off. And so that is why things are the way they are. And this is why I recommend the next Xbox should be an OS, and they just get out of this conversation altogether. What I do wonder though, and no, Xbox hardware is not going away. Don't let, I know some people want that to happen, but no, that's not going to happen. The hardware is not going away. But I do think Xbox should be based around a software stack and hardware should be endpoints. But there is a difference between being device agnostic and platform agnostic. And I don't think they can have it both ways. So you cannot give me the Netflix argument saying, I don't care what device I watch Netflix on. Guess what? I know I'm watching Netflix.
Well, in Netflix. Yeah, that's
right.
True.
And so that's that thing. But I do think that if the goal is to drive people to your platform, you have to have some mainstay pillars to build your foundation on. And we get it. A game like a COD, or even to me, Sea of Thieves makes sense, right? And I've been saying that for a long time. Fighting games make sense, but you have to have some pillars.
I'll be clear though; these are all games that Everborn Saga doesn't play or care about. But let's keep it moving.
Absolutely, single player, baby.
You see what he's doing? You see what he's doing? He's throwing them in the bushes because he doesn't give a crap about that.
But again, I think the next Xbox should just be a PC, and I think they should make their own that you can buy if you trust them as a hardware manufacturer. But also Lenovo can make a handheld, and Asus can make a PC that also has this software that gives you that same experience across the board. And that's how you get out of this hardware, this constant hardware talk. But the question that I have after all of that navel gazing and bloviating is, if Xbox did go away, what would all the PlayStation podcasts talk about?
Oh my goodness. There he goes. He has to end it with slander. Dante.
No, this is a serious question. What do you guys think, chat?
No, I think that's not a serious question. I think that is a shot across the bow. That's not even a shot across the bow. That's a direct sniper shot right to the eyeballs of some people. But I'm not gonna let that one set. I'm gonna ask Dante what his thoughts are. But before I do that,
I can get away with that because I just defended Sony on the Helldivers thing, so I deserve that.
Go ahead. Before I let Dante give me his final bars, because that will be where we put this show, I will say the announcement of the 3 winners of our members, Isaac Hayes, 85, Torino Johnson, and the one and only Pixel Bit G. Ladies and gentlemen,
Pixel Bit G gets one.
3. Each of you get one Hell. I keep doing that. I keep interchanging them. Hellblade 2 coins. You now have 48 hours, whether you choose to accept it or not, to come find me in them DMs. I'll send you a link which will give you the
breaking news. Kay wants you to slide into his DMs.
Slide in my
DMs. And he'll give you that coin.
Oh my God! Stop the BS, bro. What are we doing right now? But yes, Isaac Hayes, 85, Torino Johnson, Mr. Pixelbit G, sir. Please reach out to me in the DMs. I will get you all the information you need, and we will send you your Hellblade 2 coin. Again, thanks to the master of coin himself, Mr. Ben Kenobi. Thank you to the person who keeps the wheels turning in that way, Miss that blue number. Thank you all so much for including us on that. And of course, we will have more of these giveaways as these things present themselves. But those are our 5, ladies and gentlemen. So again, to give a wrap up, Zach Riley and Ice Cold from our chat get access to those coins. Again, 48 hours, message me. And then on the screen here, Isaac Hayes, 85, Torino Johnson, Pixelbit G, all won coins. So thank you guys so much for taking part. We will have more in that realm. But Dante, let's take us out of here, right? What are your thoughts? Out of nowhere, well, I wouldn't say out of nowhere, but here we go again. The conversation's coming. I facetiously call it the hamburgers, fries, and the shake, the pillars. And I'm talking Halo, Gears, and Forza for those who are not aware of what the hamburgers, fries, and the shake are. Halo, Gears, and Forza is now rumored whole slate to be coming to PlayStation 5 or, all the platforms where games can be played, right?
Yeah.
No one has any sense of timing.
I want to be very clear.
Go ahead.
We do not trade in those kind of rumors on this podcast. Don't get slothed.
No, we don't. We are commenting. We are commenting and talking about what has been put out into the ether. Unfairly, I might add, on Jez Corden. I would say, as he has said many times, if it's a thing that he's standing behind, you'll see it on Windows Central. Right? The man has conversations all the time. Sometimes he gets a little saucy and gets a little bit verbose. We get that, right? So I think all of that is in the sauce here, but it has brought about the conversation. And of course, I want to address it. So your thoughts, sir. Do you think it's the end of the platform? Do you think it's much to do about nothing? Are you somewhere in the middle? Or do you just think that none of this is real? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So first off, Jez is my guy. So I want to make sure I'm being fair to Jez because Jez did say that a lot of what was said was taken out of context for him. Mm-hmm. I think there's also that part where because Jez is so kind of connected within the industry and he has obviously closer ties to Microsoft, anything that he says, people are going to take it as like, well, maybe you heard some whispers, right? So they're going to take it as it's probably something that might be coming down the pipeline, which is why people who don't like that idea react so strongly to it, right? I'm at this stage with it where I blame Microsoft because they do need to be clear on their messaging. Okay, they've had an issue with messaging for the longest time. This is one thing that for some reason they cannot continue to get right. I call it defeat from the jaws of victory. They get close to victory and then they grab defeat right from it. It's amazing. Exactly. You'll take one step forward of something really, really dope, and then you'll turn around. You'll have something that you like you mentioned before, stepping on the rake. Right. You purchase Bethesda. You come out. You state that this is about bringing great exclusive content to people who are within the ecosystem. And then now it might be a situation where, maybe all your games might be going to the right.
I mean, might be. What is it? We have Hi-Fi Rush that's on there. That's not on a place where Game Pass exists. They have literally counteracted their own narrative on that one. So I do hear that. Yeah.
So I get people who are frustrated in that regard, but if I take another approach to this, because at the end of the day, do I think it's the end of Microsoft? No, because you're going to play where the games are, right? You're just going to play games. If they're producing games, you're going to buy games. If you're buying them on PC, if you're buying them on if they're on PlayStation, sure. If Xbox is still making some type of hardware, if you prefer the Xbox controller and their hardware, you're going to buy them on Xbox. I'm not someone who I'm not like a gatekeeper. It doesn't really impact me that much if someone gets to play a game that I like on their rival platform. To me, that makes it that my game is the game that I really like is probably doing better. But I also understand the importance of having exclusive, something that brings people into your ecosystem. So for someone like me who is a console gamer primarily, I am concerned about if you don't have games that are specific to your console that make people say this is why I went to go purchase your hardware, or that third parties are going to say we need to develop for your hardware, then does that mean I in turn won't receive hardware that I want when I want localized, powerful hardware to play console in my living room? So that's the only part that I care about. It's like you gotta give people differentiators and reasons as to why they need to purchase your product. So that's my concern. Outside of the fact of more people getting to play the games, though, like big scheme of things, maybe we end up in a future where both companies are doing the same, and then it doesn't matter, right? But Microsoft needs to get ahead of this and be a little bit more consistent with the message. They need to say, if this is going to be the thing going forward, rip the Band-Aid off and get it out there. And if you do believe that certain exclusives do matter, you need to sit there and state which games are super important that people will know are not going to the rival console, and that they can feel confident as to like, okay, I can still keep the Xbox because I care about this particular game and it's not going to be on a PlayStation, etc. So
let me burst your bubble a little bit.
Everyone, I don't want my bubble burst. Everyone, I want to be happy thought. Don't burst my bubble, everyone.
All right. So the thing is this. I think that regardless of what their actual plans are, which I actually think they're just kind of still working out, like internally, this is why you don't have hard answers and people are hearing different things that contradict each other, is because internally they don't know, and one side of the house is not talking to the other side of the house, and this, that, and the third. But what I will say is that even if it's not going to change what they ultimately decide to do at this point, they still have Lena Khan kind of and the FTC breathing down their throat. That case is not over. The appellate case is with the appeals judges, and they have not issued a decision. And based on that decision, they're going to take it to their in-house thing, and maybe it has to go to a federal court after, or a Supreme Court, depending on how much who do you call it wants to fight this. And all of the wishy-washy. Lucius said, "Hey, yo, I know exactly what you're talking about. That was deserved. I'm going to put a pause on myself." But the
man babies, ladies and gentlemen, man babies.
The thing is this: regardless of what they are going to do, they are going to be cagey about the term exclusivity until that is fully solved. So they may very well have their internal pillars. They may say Halo, Gears, Forza, Fable, Perfect Dark, those are never going anywhere. Maybe Starfield's never going anywhere. Maybe it is. I'm not saying one way or the other, but they may know that. They're just not going to say the term exclusive at all, because the FTC's entire case hinges around exclusivity. And again, I am not saying that this means they're secretly like planning not to do anything. I am saying their messaging and their internal stuff, in case there's a review of that, they need to excise the term exclusives from their vocabulary. So I don't think we are going to get any clarity around what if any are sacred cows, so to speak. Again,
until that's completely done.
Yes.
Until the FTC stuff is completely resolved.
So are you saying, Everborn, that there are secret cows? They're just not calling them until after this is done?
No.
Or are they excising sacred cows from their plan entirely?
No. I'm not making any statement one way or the other about whether there are secret cows. What I'm saying is sacred cows, secret cows.
Secret sacred cows.
The sacred cows are a secret, is what I'm saying. No, what I'm getting at is if there are things and they do still understand that there is some value to having exclusives, not just timed, they will not say it.
Sure.
Because of the FTC. This doesn't mean they won't have them. This doesn't mean they're saying we're changing what we're doing or we're waiting till the FTC stuff is over. This means their messaging is going to be dog crap or dog water until that's completely done. I don't think you're going to get a definitive statement one way or the other, and everything they do say will be about putting games everywhere and being a big publisher on all platforms.
So to make it seem like, hey, we're more willing to try to get more games on rival competition as opposed to keeping things closed in.
Yeah.
So hopefully that backs them off. Yeah, I mean that I've thought about.
But don't take that as me saying they're not going to put the whole slate. They might do that. I don't know that answer.
Yeah. Well, my thing is this. I think a part of this too is probably high level, and what I mean by that is I think like Satya doesn't care about exclusivity. He doesn't care.
It's actually a hindrance. It's actually a hindrance to what they need to do, which is make money.
But he wants those games selling wherever they can be sold for the most part. He doesn't see the gaming aspect in terms of the fandom of people who feel that they need exclusives.
He doesn't value it, right? No. It seems to me that if there is an advocate, let's assume that the advocate would be Phil and Sarah. Like, he's been taking their word for it for a while now, and now it's like I don't care.
Especially after you've made the big investment, right? You spent over $90 billion now between Bethesda and ABK. Yeah. So now it's the point where you're like, okay, what's the dividend? What's the return, right? Yep. You guys got to justify why we've put so much money into gaming. Well, and how do you do that with just the people within our ecosystem?
I'll take that a step further, right? And again, I'm going to say one thing, and I'm going to try to shift this to something else. To a more positive note, but the thing that I'll say is Satya doesn't care, Amy doesn't care, maybe Tim Stewart doesn't care. The thing is, though, they just spent 2 years of regulators potentially killing this deal, and it was all hinged on things being exclusives. And at a certain point, those people who gave you that money, after being literally dragged in front of a courthouse, at a certain point, they are going to ask the question, why?
Yep.
Why? If exclusivity causes us this much trouble and we can make that much by being everywhere, and we have the proof to back that up, right? Activision has way bigger margins than the Xbox did, and Activision doesn't do hardware. Activision is a third-party publisher. So why should, if we're here to make money, and if we don't want the regulators breathing down our neck, why should we keep these things exclusive?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so these are the questions that get asked, especially when the regulators spent 2 years saying, like, we're going to break you up because you do this, right? So that's that thing. But I will say, right, I think that we have a tendency to navigate towards this because I want you guys to think about this. Hellblade 2 is coming out in 3 weeks.
Yep.
Right? We just got that indie game showcase. A lot of us are getting ready to head over to E3, which is supposed to be E3 of dreams. We might hear Call of Duty's going into Game Pass. We're going to get Diablo updates. We're probably going to see Gear 6. Right? This is now you're going to have the cadence of releases. We're going to see the future. We're going to get dates on the upcoming things. The second half of 2024 is all Xbox, right? Between Avowed, between Diablo expansion, between Call of Duty in the fall if it comes to Game Pass, between Indiana Jones, all of that. Shattered Space is coming in the fall. You just got a major Starfield update. And we worried about what game might come to PlayStation 2 years from now, right? Like, we had to check ourselves for a minute and say, hey, do we want to light a candle and celebrate, or do we want to curse the darkness forever? And that's on us, as bad as their messaging is.
I think that is a great place to leave it, sir. I think you've said it best. I appreciate that. I will just say When you say we, you're not talking about me.
Oh, he just turned into Uncle Phil real quick. We.
I had to do that. Who is this we stuff? Huh? I'm sorry. I had to drop that. I had to drop that little slander real quick at the end. But you know what, Dante, it has been amazing to have you on this show. I've been wanting to have you on this show ever since I started watching you on the Infinite Podcast. You do great work there. You rein in some of the craziness that is the biscuit. I appreciate you, sir. You do yeoman's work over there. And of course, the Unreal Engine 5 shill that is Infinite Umbra. Shout out to you. But sir, tell the fine people where they can keep up with all of your ongoings this week, where they can catch all the stuff that you do, sir.
First off, I want to say thank you for having me on, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. Been checking you guys out for a while. I always end up having to catch you after the fact because I'm usually asleep sometimes on Saturday when you guys start.
Sorry again. Sorry.
So sorry. No, it's all good. It's all good, man. I need to start waking up earlier to get my day going faster on Saturdays anyway. But obviously you can catch me on the Infinite Podcast. So that's every Fridays. We start at 8 Eastern time with myself, Umbra, the Sir Brisket from the Biscuit, and the great That Blue Number Holly. I also do a separate thing called the Bluesy Box Office Podcast that's just on Spotify right now. You guys can catch me on Twitter, Dante J Moody, and then on Xbox, Spriggan113. But as always, man, pleasure for having me. Everborn, pleasure meeting you, brother.
Likewise, sir.
It's been an honor, man. Mm-hmm. And chat, man, you guys know.
We gonna meet IRL this June, baby. I'm not sure. Everborn is 60-40 right now. He's 55th. I don't know what's gonna happen, but
we'll see what happens.
We're gonna be in that spot. Yes, we're gonna be in the spot. You will definitely at least see me because my tickets are bought. We coming in June. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be exciting. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be amazing. Thank you so much for being here, sir. I can't wait to chat with you and chop it up with you, IRL. First drinks are on me. I've said that so many times. I got to bring a bigger wallet. A lot of people don't expect the drinks from me.
I'll spit it right back. I got you right back.
There you go. Mr. Everborn Saga, sir, another great episode. The slander was on display, as was the introspective conversation and the thoughts. Where can people keep up with all your ongoing, sir?
Right now, you could watch me just following these Drake and Kendrick memes because that's what I've been doing all show. My God, this stuff is hilarious. Yes, but go to everbornsaga.com and we are putting up the Kickstarter watch page so that I'm going to ask I'm going to be like annoying about it. I apologize. It'll only be for like a month or two, like a month lead up and then a month to get everybody to support the campaign. But I hope you guys can support this Ariel's Adventure Chapter 2. And if you are in the secret DMs, this is why you should be in the Discord. We have started production on the Redlands Chapter 2 already because Ariel's Adventure Chapter 2 is done. So I just shared some outlines of the first few pages. You got some new characters there that we're going to introduce, so that should be fun. And everbornsaga.com, and just stay tuned for the link for the Kickstarter watch page.
Excellent, sir. Excellent. We look forward to seeing more stuff from you. Before we go, I will once again say, hit the like button if you haven't done so. There's like 300 plus people still watching and or viewing this on YouTube and or Twitter. Please consider hitting that like button. Thank you so much for all your continued support. The link to the Discord is also now in the chat. If you haven't thought about it, please think about joining us on the Discord. A lot of fun, a lot of craziness that we have in there as well. If you happen to be a member, you get access to the VIP chat of the Discord, where you'll get a little more slander than we normally do on the normal show. I also tend to pepper a bunch of codes and stuff in there everywhere. I drop game codes, so you can be a part of that. The three folks that are part of our members that received that basically won free coins, I'll put them up on display again. Isaac Hayes, 85, Torino Johnson, and the brother Pixelbit G. Thank you guys so much for your continued support as members. Of course, reach out to me. I'll give our members a bit more leeway. But if you're not a member and you happen to have won, and by that I'm talking about Zach Riley, I'm talking about Ice Cold. I think Ice Cold already reached out. Please hit me up. You have 48 hours. I'll get your information and we will make sure we send that stuff out to you. Catch me.
Tell me the winners again. Who are the winners again?
Zach Riley.
I think Zach Riley said he reached out to you.
Yes, he has.
In the DM.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, he has. Yeah. And Ice Cold also needs to reach out to me. And then as for our members, we have Isaac Hayes, 85, Torino Johnson, and the brother Pixelbit G. Those are the 5 members, 3 members, and two chat folks who won the coins. So reach out to me when you can. Let me get your information, and I will send that stuff out to you as well. Catch me and Mr. John Wolf Monday night, where we will be talking more PC stuff, right? Handheld / PC stuff. We about them games, so we play everywhere we can, and PC is another place we play. So if you're PC curious, as they say, come check us out there. We promise we will not poke you with sticks. No Diddy.
Wait a minute. What are we talking about here, man? Come on.
Just some PCMR stuff going on right now.
We will not gaslight you and try to call it the console gaming experience.
CEG.
Whatever, bro. Whatever. He's PCMRing in the bedroom.
Better than talking about poking with sticks. That's all I'm saying.
Anyway, from myself, Mr. Everborn Saga, and the great Dante Moody, we say thank you guys so much for checking us out. There's still a lot of conversations to be had, still a lot of gaming talk to be had. Go check out Living Split Screen or all the other great shows that are on today. Let them know we sent you. And we'll be back next week. Till then, peace.
Nice to be in orbit.